get into it though, staying on the stairs. They've got a player up close to Coutinho, and he's hitting all the headshots. To hold this map control in the crossfires, the first man up top spotted, but Cloud, it takes them way too long to deal with him. And Trex has to do it all, and he might just 2 HP, and he's gotten it done.
Oh, no, he gets it through the full flash as well. Fallen finds 2, make it a 3, make it a 4.
Foothold to fight from, and Cloud's left alone. 2 more opponents to take down. He's done it before, he's been phenomenal so far, and now it's just 1. He's low HP though. This should be Coldamenta's round, the last on the left, but there it is! Giants again! All 5 players looking here, a passive play, watching the flank, and this is going to be Turco with a triple!
Strike, you don't want to be anywhere near that tower. It's going to connect with an opportunity to get into an afterplant. Actually going to get no man's land, just looking to try and get something here. And Saget took it his 3rd, 4th even, maybe even trying to go for the ace, and it's left all on to Suchny.
There you go, an ace in the end.
Well, it's been about 2 minutes and 30 seconds since I spoke about how EMEA are the best region in the world. So I thought I'd take this opportunity to let you guys know and to remind you that we also have the reigning Game Changers World Champions. Now, speaking of Game Changers, the qualifiers for the 2023 EMEA Series 1 started last week. G2 Gozen, Guild X, Navi Celestials, NIPGC, and CBA earned a direct invite, but everyone else, absolutely everyone else, had to fight it out for a spot in the top 16. There were a lot of strong teams in the open qualifiers. We already have a world champion from MENA, and Team Falcons, they proved that we could be looking at a few more this year. They made it through alongside Kase, Hydra, Rebels, Velvet, GK Esports, KPI Shine, and BBL Queens without too much trouble at all. But there was a bit of an upset. XL, they were forced to play LCQ, and unfortunately, they did not make it through this time. They fell to Untapped in the top 16. By the way, the only unsigned team from the teams that had to qualify. So someone, if you're watching, you better pick them up. I know some of you guys at home, the K-Core fans, were a little bit down in the dumps after last week's VCT results, but don't worry, the GC team will give you something to cheer about. It was a tough fight, but they made it through, as did Focus, Sakura, and Alliance Coven. Last but not least, I want to highlight Ascend Rising's Amy. They 2-0'd their way to the main event, and her stats, by the way, were absolutely astounding. In fact, she was the only Sentinel player in the top 10 when it came to ACS, and she was third. And she did all of this after role swapping in the off-season. She played Cypher for the first time. On her debut, she went 17-4. Killjoy, 23-8. We should probably start giving out awards for the Dutch Player of the Week, because I'm pretty sure she's going to win it every single week. Now, the group stage of the main event will be starting on April 24th, and we'll be sure to give you another GC check-in just to see how things are doing.
Don't get me wrong, Sue. I love seeing you talking about Spanish teams, but I wanted to talk about something that happened to me this week. You know when you learn a new word, and then in the next 24 hours, somebody uses it, and you're like, oh my God, it was like fate, like the universe put it there for me. Do you know what? Do you have that feeling when a number is like going after you? Well, for this week, week 3, this is the number that has been chasing me. It's also because, besides that we're in week 3, out of the 3 days that we work and we have games during the week, every single team has already played 3 matches thanks to Super Week. And that also means that we have gone over a third of the competition, right? A competition that started on March, which is the 3rd month of the year. And then we also divided in 3 regions, for which we are the best. But, you know, moving forward, I was like, this cannot be translated to teams, right? Because, you know, teams, 5 players, no, not really the 3s are going to be seen here. But then I thought about a shape, and it's a triangle. Yes, 3 sides, 3 angles, and 3 things that, you know, surprised me a lot. Because I was looking at Navi, for example, for today, and I saw that Koi beat Navi. At the same time that Navi beat Giants, and then last week Giants beat Koi. And there you have it. You know, that's the first one. For the same part, we have, you know, Team Liquid, Footballist, Vitality. We have a Vitality that beat Team Liquid, probably in a week that many people would have liked to face Team Liquid because they look pretty different now. But then Team Liquid went on to win against Footballist, and last week Footballist won against Vitality. You think that I'm going crazy, but this is very important, especially when it comes to permutations, and we go deeper in the weeks, and we're talking about how all of this is going to unravel and how the teams are going to be looking, because we have some other triangles, you know, that might end up in tiebreakers. For example, with what's going to happen when Vitality and Navi face off against each other. Same goes for Vitality and Koi. If you see, I put Fnatic up here. I'm going to give them the color orange. The reason why they're barely in any triangle is because of 3 letters. Leo, that's also very nice of them. And in the bottom part, you see that we have Team Heretics, who won against K-Corp, and then K-Corp went on to win against BBL. Another potential triangle when we see this much here. I know that this is, you know, a curve, but just bear with me on this one. I know that you're able to imagine that triangle. I'm gonna end up with, you know, the best of them all, because, you know, 3-0 for them. One of them against Heretics, the other one against BBL. Giants is just, you know, there. But there you have it. You saw it. It is another triangle.
It is. Who would have thought, Kakuka? But before you really descend into complete madness, let's actually go to our first match of the day. We have a banger coming up. It is Team Heretics
Team
versus
Liquid and
Navi.
Navi.
Starless night descends upon the city. The lights in windows go out one by one. Only Angel is kept awake by the swarm of thoughts buzzing in his head. Insomnia has long been the price of his genius. What fundamental societal questions will find their answers inside the mind of the legendary Navi captain at this late hour?
If Phoenix did his ulti right before airport security, would he need to go through the metal detector again?
All night long, the captain...
Maybe without his background voice I could actually get some sleep?
Angel couldn't really hear the narrator's voice. He just liked to bluff.
What is the time difference with Japan? Like 8 hours? Hello, jet lag. If I will go sleep now, I'll get like 4 hours of rest. It's fine. At least Sui will be happy. Naruto Park, anime stuff. Who puts a globe in a hotel room? Bro, are you sleeping?
Angel, do you know what time it is?
Can't sleep.
Not again.
You know, it must be so hard for you to compete against your own brother. And it's wrong that we never talk about it. We should...
Come on, man. First there was the time position when you sleep, and second there was the horoscopes. Jesus, let's go to sleep.
We are not doing like stupid mistakes, so everything is fine.
Are you going to analyze his game before the next one?
No, we usually... I'm Angel, where A stands for awesome. The man who can do bows, struts and frags. Why didn't say that? I have to write it down. Knife sharpener is a gift. That works. Just need to learn the postcode here. Staff or Doberman? Nah, the dogs are not for me. Spitz is the way to go. How can Aquarius be an air sign? He literally pours water. Hey, ChatGPT. Tell me more about our next VCT opponent.
Angel was brilliant at the game, but not at technology. He foolishly thought that ChatGPT would answer him like Siri.
I usually don't answer with my voice, but for your sake, Angel, your next opponent is Team Heretics.
Oh, really? Heretics? Or more like I'll show them here tricks? Or here are my tactics? They can't stop me. How do you like that?
It is not my function to rate bad punchlines. And by bad, I don't mean a value judgment of the quality of your jokes.
Sleeping at last. We can only wonder what complex tactics and round scenarios are playing in his mind.
Wanna learn my tactics? Don't even dream about it.
What a piece of content from the Navi team. Shout out to them. But also, I'm really glad that you're not the only person that's losing your mind. So there's a theme going on today. Vincent, I'm waiting for you to lose it anytime soon. But speaking of losing their minds, in all of the triangle, Illuminati, conspiracy stuff that Kukuka talked about, there was one, I don't know if you noticed, but there was one that made a lot of sense. The one where teams have played Navi and Fnatic back-to-back so far, Vincent, have had a really hard time, and Heretics are up next.
So you're telling me the teams that are facing against the basically best two teams of our region have
back-to-back. This was back-to-back. So
back-to-back.
Giants had to do it back-to-back.
It's just a nightmare.
Yeah, and BBR to do it back-to-back, and it just did not go well.
Yeah, exactly. This is the last three that completes the form of the threes, but exactly today, Heretics is going to face off against Navi, as we were saying. And it's probably not going to look good, because for Navi, I think that they're looking better. Of course, let's start from the point that everybody thought that this was the two better teams, Fnatic and Navi, but let's be honest, on that first week, nobody was that sure.
I fully agree. I mean, the first week, I would have said, okay, what happened with this Navi? I don't know this Navi. This is a weird Navi. But overall, I feel like now from week to week, they have adjusted back to this normal kind of team that I know, that is so good at doing basics, that is so good at actually finding themselves in scenarios that are so advantageous. And this is the Navi that I like, and this is the Navi that I see having a good chance in this.
We're going to talk about them just in a little bit, but one person I feel like is not having the best time ever on the side of Heretics is Kellogg's. And Vincent, I know you are more of a big fan of his Jet than anything else.
Right. I mean, this pretty much tells you how much he loves Jet. You could consider him a bit of a one trick, but that would be disrespectful. So we're going to say he's particularly good at that agent called Jet. And, well, this is kind of important if we take a look at what happened during last week, because he had played his Jet on one of those two maps, but to be very frank, that is the kind of face that I made when I saw him play that Phoenix. But right now we see it looks okay. This is the kind of Kellogg's I know. This is the well-hitting shot kind of Kellogg's.
It's better than okay, I would say.
yeah, quite
totally.
good.
Yeah. It's something that Heretics can rely on, and definitely he's proven that they have to rely on. They need keloqz to show up. keloqz, a player that, you know, was done dirty in the past. Let's just rethink of what happened with G2, and then him being demoted into Tier 2 without really having a say in or doing something wrong per se. But then when we look at the Phoenix that we saw last week, again, Heretics asking a lot from him, and him just not performing because he wasn't comfortable. And I bet there's a lot of things that are going behind the scenes that we just don't know about.
It also feels like it's unfair that we only put a little bit of his Phoenix in there, but that is genuinely all of the kills that he got.
Yeah, it's at the good side of his Phoenix.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be a bit of an issue. And do you guys feel like that is the win condition for Heretics today, that keloqz has to be on Jet?
I don't think it's only that. I think it's for everybody to find their place and what they can bring to the team. I think that, for example, Mixwell has been trying to pull a Leo to just, you know, play in the more supportive side. But even with that, he's currently at 1 first kill, only 1 in the 3 weeks that the W3 matches that he's had, and 14 first deaths. So he's trying to play more supportive, but he's not achieving that. And even when he faced off against that duel, him that has been individually so good in the past, especially on the Jet, is not performing. So to me, it's a lot of pieces that for some reason are not merging well together.
Exactly, this is how it feels to me too, because this team still didn't just find their pure essence or ideology that they follow up. It feels like they're just missing some essentials. The team is not that well formed in the sense that they are being together for too long. I just hope that this week's going to be better.
Well, funny enough, keloqz, his opposite number, the player he's going to be playing against today, a man called CNED, who was always labeled as the Jet one trick, Vincent, but he is also branching out.
He very much is. And, you know, I want to be very honest. Surely, I think we don't need to debate that CNED is one of the best duos we have in this world. I still think when I take a look back at last week that he was not convincing me that much. He was good, don't get me wrong, it's good. CNED can never be really that bad, but he was not like, oh, this is the CNED I know, this is the greatest kind of player I've seen in all time. So I still think that within this team, he himself has a lot more potential in Navi.
He still needs to, you know, learn some beats and pieces about the new Jet and how it's played. And not only that, we know that CNED is not the kind of player that deals well with changes. We know what happened last year with Ascent, and now being with Navi, a Navi that has been changing on the compositions, bringing the Gecko, and then we take a step back. And CNED has to, you know, be on the middle of it all with a team that has been together for the longest time.
It feels a lot like it still is an adaptation process, as you just mentioned, that is going on within this team. And I miss the old Ascent days with CNED, right? Where he was just popping off. But I still think this is something that will come very much, you know, into reality very soon once his team found a better place with him. I still hope it's going to happen.
Him hopping off and just off his comfort zone and just playing the Euro, I think that says a lot about you know, what CNED is willing to do to fit in this team.
The evolution. But I would feel like I will be robbed if I do not get a keloqz CNED Jet head-to-head. We need it to happen. It's been a hot minute since we've seen something like that, and if it doesn't happen, I'm going to complain. I'm going to complain directly to Angel. Now, one player I feel like in the past we don't really talk about him. He seems on the side of Navi a bit more muted on the team of superstars. Kakuka is Zipan. He's just been silently doing his job and doing it right.
Yeah, exactly. And if you haven't watched Navi or FPX for the last year, you know that Zipan have been playing, you know, on the race, on the flex. You know, he was always giving the team what they wanted and just, you know, what's complaining. You know, it was just in the middle of that. Some people were to say if there are some changes coming in FPX, Zipan will be the change. But now this year he's adapting to all of that. He's performing super well, and he's definitely being a differentiating factor in their wins.
I think particularly you have to say that his KO stands out, right? His debut on KO was in 2022 against Big in VCT. So I just had to put that. I had to. I couldn't do it differently.
How long did it take? I think 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't mention Gob yet. But most importantly, right, he has been doing a quite good job in terms of support in swapping that role, as you just mentioned, away from the race, really getting into the roles that that someone has to do. And I like it because he has been a constant, he has been solid, not too much obvious, but I like it.
I'm glad you guys I'm glad you mentioned about the Gecko and the Euro and stuff, because Vincent, Navi last year, they were the team that we expect to play like 5 bajillion comps on every map, and it feels like nothing's new.
No, nothing.
Except for the comps. But nothing else.
No.
Yeah.
So most importantly, what you're going to see is that the matter of fact that last year, Navi pretty much during stage 2 played like 20 or 25 different comps. This time around, they're leading it again, as they, for example, made a change on Ascent, as we know, and as their map pool is quite diverse. So this is quite important to see. They once more lead, and I wouldn't be surprised if today we once more are going to see changes because they want to try things out. Just to pretty much put one thing into context, the reason why, for example, a team like Cormac Corp is in the bottom here, because they only played 3 maps. So we still need to look deeper within the weeks how much there's a diversity of agent pool and agent composition within those teams. But I wouldn't be surprised if weeks from now we revisit this. Fnatic is going to be sitting there like with 15 maybe?
I doubt it. I think Fnatic will literally just have 7 comps and Navi will have like 50.
Yeah, probably. I mean, they're also, you know, experimenting and playing a lot of different maps, so that's probably what that number goes even further and even higher.
I mean, that's the vision of Angel, right? Last year he said to us, it was, I think in week 1 of last year, he said, in my mind, the future of Valorant is where every team on every map plays 3 comps.
No. It's very funny because last week, after their match, you know that they swapped those compositions in Ascent, they removed the Gecko, they went back to Sage. I had an interview with Angel in the Spanish stream, and he just said, we're getting there because we changed this composition specifically for BBL, knowing that they're more straightforward with their attacks. We thought that the Sage would be, you know, a good counter up.
And this is, I think, the future of Valorant, because as mentioned, this changing of compositions, adapting particularly to your opponent, I think we're going to see years from now that this is basically the future of the game because you have so many options.
And he can definitely do it when with players like Zipan, who is very flexible. We are heading into the map of vetoes here. Again, Navi map pool looking really, really good. So they're taking away the icebox here. They can afford to.
It's very funny because during the season and during the year mostly, they have been perma-banning Haven. The only time that they didn't was against Fnatic. You know, so in the semifinals, in lock-in.
They could afford to ban whatever they want. It's Navi.
So that's the thing. Against Heretics, is the opponent big enough? Does it scare you enough? So you have to go and ban that Haven. A Haven that also Heretics is not particularly comfortable in. They know that they don't want to face off on the icebox because Heretics left it open against Fnatic. So this is looking good for me.
What do you make of the Pearl, Lotus, and Ascent here?
So I think that Pearl is a quite safe one in my eyes for Navi. I wouldn't be surprised if that goes well. The Lotus one is interesting to me because, you know, we've obviously been thinking that so far I have not been too personally convinced of how good Navi does on this map. 18-20 against Koi. Yeah, that is super close. That is super tight. I still was not fully sold on their composition once more, bringing in the Gecko, all of those things. It looked like a very kind of disjointed team. So therefore, I still believe Navi has a good kind of map selection with here, particularly as you mentioned with the Haven being floated. It is their advantage.
Do you know a very funny thing? Lotus is the only map that hasn't been insta-banned by any team in the competition so far. And it's very funny because it's a map that we're seeing a lot, probably the map that we're seeing the most. So it makes sense for Heretics to want and try this map out because, you know, there's still a lot of things that you can learn from other teams. We know that they have also been expanding on their compositions after locking. So it is a very good trial.
How, give me like a percentage of Heretics' chances today. Is it like a 50-50, 40?
I would say 80-20 to me.
80-20 to Navi?
15-85.
15-85 to Navi. Okay.
Yes.
But there's still a chance though. Like you guys
I mean,
are
there's
not
always
saying
a chance. There's also a chance that Cormac Corp is becoming first.
We're talking about, so the problem is that, you know, when you have a new team, like for example, Heretics, there's a pecking order in the things that you have to fix and your priorities, right? So let's see if some of them are fixed for this week.
Well, you guys are not as pessimistic about Heretics as I thought you would be, but it's time to bring the teams onto a stage and kickstart week 3 of VCT EMEA. Here is Navi and Team Heretics.
Navi. Team Heretics.
Feeling like $1 million. Living like some Triple Deluxe. Feeling like $1 million.
Right, you guys, you know, you won too harsh on Heretics here. You think they have a chance, but I do want to present some statistics to you.
Right.
Heretics have not beaten a single tier 1 team on this map, and the most rounds they've gotten is 8. The most ever. So, what are your hopes and dreams for them on Pearl here? Do they still have a chance on Pearl?
I mean, they do have a chance to say, let's say it like that. I think that the fact that they're starting here on the defense, if I'm not mistaken, might give them some room, because I remember that they were struggling a little bit against Foot and only got a couple of rounds on the attack. So I want to see that
they also got 2 rounds on the defense.
Yeah, that's two. I'm
it was
trying.
2 on the defense and 2 on the attack.
But they played the entire attack. They didn't play the entire defense.
Okay,
Sue.
true.
Give me something here.
Okay, you're on the copium. You're on the
Something here.
copium.
No. But really, the thing is that I think that Navi has the upper hand, because it's really difficult to prepare yourself for a team that you know it's still in the kitchen, cooking up their stuff, cooking up their compositions, and you know are going to prepare so well from week to week, because they do not have to deal with the extra trouble and the extra problems that might be in Heretics just for being a new team.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you're asking me how much the chance is. I think it's extremely low, because to be very honest, last week it looked kind of problematic when we take a look at how, you know, Navi approached Giants, but then there was the side swap where they went defense, and that was amazing.
Well, we're into Agent Select now. Vincent, you spoke about how Navi, they always come with something different, it feels like. Maybe we get that again today.
I wouldn't be surprised. I would be not very surprised.
Okay.
And so gets him. Killjoy is regular. The Astra is normal as well. Angel surprising us.
Mixwell went on the Harbor, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
He was the one. So him and Zeke swapped their roles. We know that Mixwell is the one taking it on the icebox, so maybe he wants to focus more.
Jet versus Jet, we got it.
Yeah, exactly.
We got it.
First map. I'm so delighted that we get to see Angel on Gecko again. I really hope that he does it better this time.
And that is kind of interesting, because Mixwell always has been the supporting colleague of Kellogg's, even back in G2 kind of days. Now Zeke doing that duty is kind of interesting, also considering that he has taken that IGL service.
And with the Viper instead of
Yep,
the Astra.
that is also
it's a
big
different
swap.
understanding of the map, so maybe this is a read onto what they thought they would be playing today based on their bans. So I really like this. I'm gonna give them 25-75.
All right, that is very, very nice of you, because I think that is a good on-meta comp that Team Heretics have picked, right? We've seen it from the likes of Cloud, for example, to start with one of those. And I think this is a good thing to do. At the same time, it doesn't change much to me. The composition can be as great as it gets. Navi still plays the better Valorant overall. I think that's a very, brief statement. But at the end of the day, that duel, CNET versus Kellogg's, the man started with 18 kills on the defensive half versus EG in 2023. Afterwards, he was silent. So maybe that could be the kickstart Heretics needs. But at the end of the day, it's Navi.
I know Angel was descending to Manis a little bit, but this is pushing all of the pressure onto him. We know Navi, they changed stuff because they want their opponents to be caught off guard. But Navi could not have foreseen these changes from Heretics.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Kakuka, this is an advantage for Heretics. They have an opportunity.
Completely. And if they were to prepare for this match, as we know, the best thing about having a season where they play 1 match per week is that they have that the entire week to prepare for their next opponent, and solely for that. So if Heretics wants to prove something, not only to the Spanish community, but also to the rest of the community in EMEA, that they can actually do it, that they're not just the names, the legends, the history, it has to start today.
Yeah, and this brings us also to the point where obviously Lotus has to be really, really complicated when we're coming up next, because this right here is to be the right start. If they fall short with the momentum, I see this being a 2-0 for Navi no matter what.
Oh, so, I mean, but this isn't in a must-win for Heretics, though. We're not expecting them to win this just yet.
No, but I mean, you have to win a map, in best case for
We'll swerve that conversation nice and quick and focus more on the game. Dangerous territory. That's your first strike of the day. Heretics Navi. Now that you're all full of laughter, what are you saying?
I think Navi have got this one, if I'm being honest. I know that's not the boldest of predictions in the world.
No, it is the boldest of predictions.
I think there was always going to be a really tough veto for them, and I didn't really see a way of them winning it. I think they've come in with a little bit of a surprise. Like, I don't think, like, obviously Lotus is a map for them that hasn't really gone particularly well either, but one that they clearly feel like they can fix some of the issues. The problem is, I feel like the other two maps, I just don't know how they're going to fix all of the problems they had already. Like, going into Pearl, I think it's a huge advantage going Navi's way. And Ascent, if they're not playing their Gecko comp, it's always going to go their way as well. So I think this is going to be an incredibly tough match for Heretics. And they still look like they're in a flux of switching up their roles. Like, even just between the last time they played this map and this one, you've had Zeke and Mixwell swap who they're playing, and then even throw a Viper in the mix. So if you're trying to adapt on the fly, well, you're playing up against the masters of that, and I don't know if necessarily Heretics have the same flexibility that Navi do going into this.
Nah, we saw that they're speaking about this as well as they're going through their pre-show. Very well done, by the way, guys. They were talking about the variation in comps that we've seen across all the teams in EMEA, and Navi are right at the top with 7. They have played the most, greatest variety, I guess you could say. Yeah. Greatest variety of Valorant so far that we have seen of any team across their first 3 games in EMEA. So if anyone's going to keep on mixing things up and matching you on the other side, trying to be, you know, a little bit creative, this is the team to do just that. And I think I'm with you in terms of saying, you know, they haven't changed what agents they're bringing here. It's the same agents minus the Viper, but we're just seeing players swap who's playing what in that kind of sense of they're trying to find exactly who's comfortable where.
Yeah, and I think they've got a couple of players. Like, I think Zeke is someone who definitely has that flexibility within him. I think we've seen him play every single role so far for this team.
He doesn't stop swapping.
The only thing that worries me is how is Mixwell's Harbor going to go? Because last time around, I think they played it on Icebox and they got absolutely spanked. So it's going to be a learning curve here for Team Heretics, and they might be thrown in at the deep end as they head into Pearl.
As we're touching on it, because you did mention it, you are absolutely correct. He has played every single role, Zeke. That is, he's played Raze, he's played Sova, he's played Sage, he's jumped across onto Harbor. Really moving between all 4 different roles in the game, just showing again that flexibility. And I think that makes his team somewhat unpredictable as well. You can go in expecting to see a certain pick out of Zeke and suddenly surprising you with the other. Angel straight off the bat though. Kellogg's did not have his cornflakes this morning, straight down here in round 1. And Shock Horror a little bit too far ahead of the rest of his team.
An interesting one. He got the kill with the Sheriff. I think the HUD is showing that he currently has a Ghost. So I'm guessing there's something gone amok with the HUD, unless that was just an insane shot with a gun that he doesn't even have. But definitely interesting to see someone on a Gecko seemingly not actually buying up that extra utility behind it. So we'll see how that's actually going to play out. But a huge opening kill already coming up for Navi. And there needs to be a response here relatively quick. The thing is, though, Heretics, they've got a good read. They're actually going to stack up on this side of the map.
They are. They've got the utility as well to play for it. You've got to be mindful about that split coming in through mid at the same time. So it's a good idea coming out of Navi, but so far, as you say, a good read from Heretics. The Harbor rotating back away. The other 3 all sticking on A, at least for now.
30 seconds left.
Quick entry. Looking to try and go through. Leading the charge. This fight is so awkward. It's just one of the ugliest fights I think I've ever seen. Luckily, Zipan is going to find that opener for the team and get them into that after plant. No real response coming just yet, and this retake's already looking tough.
This came with more of a test of left-clicking prowess, I think, more than anything else, rather than aim itself. But it has come down to this point, as you can see, where things are stacking up against them here. Zipan finds yet another, completely shutting them out, but Avova almost bringing things back, at least for a second on site itself. 3 players still stacked up against him, though. This has got Navi written all over it. Up a little bit closer. And for a second, sure, it looked a bit nice for Avova getting a couple back on the other side, but really Navi looking largely unbothered in that first round.
Yeah, it seems like we're going to get the classic purchase as well coming in from Navi. Like having those 3 rifles, light shields, so definitely some risk element about it. And if either of those can be sort of stolen away to the other side. But interestingly, with the information they found early, they've actually completely avoided the stack. The only man on the other side of the map is going to be Boo. Bear in mind, they haven't invested anything into this over on that defensive side. Obviously, they bought utility, but that will carry through to the next round. So he's going to be in for a nasty shock, and especially facing off against those rifles. The second this gets into an afterplant, this round should be over.
Yeah, looking largely unbothered as well as they've got themselves straight towards back sites. Just saw Wingman getting in and getting that spike down, as we all know, makes things incredibly difficult to play into. when you're essentially still got all 5 guns online and pointing in the right direction. I think, as you say, unless we see an act of God coming out here, this one feels like it's going against Heretics.
Yeah. Something that obviously needs to mention for the guys in the audience right now, I saw every time Wingman planted, North America lost their minds. So I expect to hear cheers for every single Wingman plant, all right?
Yeah, they did cheer. I heard them cheer.
It needs to be louder. I need to, pure excitement. Imagine that we've just seen the greatest clutch of all time every time Wingman does anything.
All right, I think you're being maybe a little bit bold
Nope,
there.
we love Wingman. We love Wingman in this house.
There you go.
There we go, that's better.
That was a test run on the replay. It wasn't the real thing.
No, if that's the replay, it can only go up from there.
Just in case anyone wasn't sure what Wingman planting looks like, now you know. So you can join in next time.
Thank you, observers. Always a shout out to them. We love Silver Mel.
Well, into the bonus round, and still some, I mean, really just the one weapon hanging over from the previous round. Everything else has been a full upgrade here, so we are essentially going into a full buy round for Navi bar the one gun. So not wanting to kind of give a chance for Heretics to get back into this. That, to me, just screams, again, confidence coming out of Navi. They don't want to give them a single round here.
That's the thing with those 2 players saving. If you manage to keep everybody alive, you then just buy and you still have extra credits for next round. It's this is the best case for Navi going into one of these early rounds, so it's a terrifying prospect for the side of Heretics, and that's a very bad start. Boo down within seconds, and then they catch the timing on both players through mid. Navi are just trouncing Heretics in their first buy round, and I think...
Ready?
Almost there. There we go.
That's better. Much more warmed up the second time of asking. They ain't going to let you down in this crowd, are they, Tom?
Love it. Love it here in Berlin.
They're on your side with that one. I mean, really, that might be the most excitement you get from this game because Navi
You're giving up after 3 rounds? You're giving up that quick?
I mean, if the rounds were a little more competitive at points, round 1 especially, and this round have just been an absolute slaughter from Navi. And it's not at all trying to write Heretics off, but well, actually, no, I'm a liar. I actually am trying to do that. Looking at how things went for them last week, you're hard-pressed to think it really goes much differently against Navi, who, for all intents and purposes, are still a top team that we have here in EMEA, even if they aren't quite going flawless the same way Fnatic are.
They're hunting. They're looking for that remaining player. Kellogg's is very far away at this stage, so I think clearing him out is going to be...
I heard you just calling Kellogg's. Is it in your brain now?
That's his name.
Straight in there.
I hate to say it, but probably best to play as a team.
Kellogg's.
So,
no one calls him that.
I do.
Okay.
I respect the way he spells his name.
You're unique in that sense. I'll give you that one. Are you also going to say ANG1 as well?
ANG1. Anger 1.
Well, 1X well.
I've heard worse. Trust me.
Oh, God.
I've heard worse.
Well, we do have ourselves the Logitech G Power round. Unfortunately, here for Heretics, it's not looking like the biggest power round I've ever seen. They're going to have to win with basically a single rifle and pistols. Kellogg's is that sort of pop-off player, and they are going in his direction, giving him that opportunity. Turret getting that contact initially, and now they can gamble, rotate everybody in.
Oh, man. I mean, you're relying on having such a big start in this round, and sure, you got players behind them following up, but look at that. It's the Angel Slaughterfest. Sure, Kellogg's gets one back, mixed well into a second. Cena keeps things going on the side of Navi, finds a second as well. It's going to be a 4-0 here, completely expectedly, given what they walked into this round with in the arsenal.
Any extra damage would be nice, but at this stage, the economy of Navi is off the charts. Like, to win what was your quote-unquote bonus round and win it cleanly at that, then go hunting down players, Navi are looking truly unstoppable. And this is where I need to see some sort of reaction. Now, it was mentioned on the desk that the time that they did manage to get defensive rounds, Kellogg's probably had one of the best halves we've ever seen. Like, he was truly unbelievable. He was dominating, winning rounds single-handedly with Blade Storms. I need to see more than that. And thus far, the most terrifying thing for me is I think, I could be wrong, but at least 3 rounds, I think Angel is the one finding the opening kill. The man running in on a Gecko, the in-game leader, has just been finding those frags. Now, the sort of joke, the meme of Angel is that he intentionally dies so that he can in-game lead from the back. Well, if that he's running in
that's
and
no
basically...
joke. That's a viable strategy.
No fear, and he's running in just to try and open onto you, and he's succeeding. As you sort of said, we could be starting to call this game done before it's even begun. So I like the fact that we've got an early pause. Neil Zenio getting vocal with the team, but there needs to be some pretty drastic changes here already. And I kind of was hoping that we'd maybe get an operator in for Kellogg's, but as we can see already, that's not going to be the case.
No. Again, it's hard to feel optimistic given 1, how this game has started, and again 2, how last week went. It's just been a rough time for Heretics. And we spoke about this a fair whack in the pre-game in terms of changing around who's playing what agent. We've got to see something really good start to come online for them here, else this could well wind up being almost another 13-0. They thankfully managed to save that last week, but it was only by the skin of their teeth.
Yeah, and now they come up against ults. The only ult points they've really got so far are from dying. So it's not ideal. And then on the other side of things, already having Thrash, we've seen that be utilized so effectively for information gathering. They also have a null command to remove all the utility on the other side. But I like this initial start. Already sending out util to try and deny any of that extra space, but this is the power of Thrash. They've just sent it through and cleared absolutely everything.
And the best thing
he can just run back in and get it again.
That's exactly it. He didn't overextend it. He didn't send it in towards site. It was left in a position where he could recover it and use it again in the round. And that's what you're looking to do. Chain it together 2 or 3 times, the same with his other abilities too. Exactly what he's looking for in here. No doubt going to recover the second as well. And if he chooses to here, could even look to rotate away, and that's exactly the call they're going to make.
Yeah, the thing is, Na'Vi have done well to basically hold on to the majority of map control. They pressure outside A, they held on to B long, and made sure that nobody pushed mid. So there's not a lot of information, and it means that on the other side of things, Heretics are having to use quite a lot of utility from that initiator of Zeke to find out where the players are. Now, I'll be honest with you, from what I've seen, all he really knows is that they haven't gone art. Other than that, they just know that they've lost a lot of map control.
It's been a good read. I love the wall that's kind of sneaked this way as well.
Oh, this is nasty.
As well. A sock on top of the molly, not quite going to find a target though. Zipan, he cannot be stopped this game either. Finds himself 2 as Shao collects the third, and shock horror. Na'Vi are in a 5v or 4v2, sorry.
That was such a cool execution. Another cheer from the crowd. Gotta say, I'm loving it.
I mean, you asked for it.
I did ask for it, but you know, you don't always believe that you have that sort of pull. Like, I don't know.
You don't believe in this Berlin crowd?
No, I don't believe in myself.
No comment.
Avova at least going to get one on the exits. That execution, though, was beautiful from Na'Vi. It left Kellogg's with nowhere left to stand, so he's forced backwards, and then his teammate gets hit by the Thrash close, so he doesn't even have a gun as they enter into the site. It made things so easy for Na'Vi. Like, you watch it from, I think it was the POV of Zipan, he walks in and get a double open, and you go, wow, that looked really easy, but it was all off the back of the utility, basically clearing out all of the backside, a grav well to try and hold him into that mosh, and that's the thing we talk about with the mosh pit. It's so powerful because of the instant damage it does if you're stuck in it towards the end. So that was the whole goal from the team. This is starting to worry me because 5-0, they had a stack up on this side of the map. This is the exact execution I'm talking about. Like, he had to run backwards. It came down to Mixor to try and keep his teammate safe. Him dying, it's round over. It's already done.
Already see the frustration building up on Coach's face as well. They know exactly what's coming. And it's no doubt going to be not much of an improvement going into these next couple of rounds because, again, it's one of these half rounds coming out for the side of Heretics. Guardian thrown in there, got the Stinger on side along with the Sheriff. Whereas on the other side, unsurprisingly for Na'Vi, given how things have been going, not only are they all absolutely rich with cash right now, but they are coming out fully armed. It's Boots to start things off, but an immediate trade coming in from Sugetsu.
Yeah, they seemed pretty happy to just risk that rifle. I will say I might have done it the other way around so that you'd at least have your Killjoy utility still online instead of sacrificing your Killjoy, but it does leave one side of the map open. The thing is, Na'Vi's just disrespected the utility they've thrown out. Walking straight through it early on, a re-aggression from Heretics to at least prove that they are challenging for some map control, and that's going to make Na'Vi think, okay, we do have to be careful of the flank now that the turret is gone.
Which I like as well, because the acknowledgement I think probably from Heretics, especially during the timeout, was if we've sat back on site and just let ourselves get absolutely stacked about by Na'Vi so far, we need to show a little more aggression. As out comes the ult from Zipan, they march their way in towards the A site here, forcing these members of Heretics back, and they've got site control.
Spike.
I can get used to this.
Oh, I want to see Gecko every single game now.
Keep on watching Na'Vi, and I'm sure you will. They've played him, I think, across 4 maps so far.
Well, retake being attempted. Cove put down will at least try and bait them in to use some of that utility they had left on the spike. Saigetsu coming in on the flank is going to drop one, but they're just trying to stick to the fuse. Zipan, though, with an amazing flash. Just gets 2 completely blinded and just lands the headshot as well. Filthy from Zipan. He wasn't even the last line of defense. They had 2 more players waiting over on short.
He has been terrifying on the entry to that A site. I think every single round they pushed into it, you've seen him slide down the left-hand side of the stairs, immediately turn to his right and just beam a couple of fools that are looking at him the wrong way. 10-2 he finds himself so far across these first 6 rounds. that Navi dream story continues here. It's just
look how blind they are. They even like, I think he got all 3 players with 1 flash, so they had to try and throw down the smoke just to stay alive. They are playing unbelievably well.
Well, if there's any chance to see Heretics come back into this, it's now. They've got the op on side, they've got 4 rifles, they've got 4 ultimates online. At this point, I almost feel there's no point in trying to hold on to these. Let's just burn them and get something on the board, because that 1-round win can turn into many, many more as long as they start believing in themselves and getting that momentum going, because right now, there's very little of either.
Early wall utilized. This should be a free kill for Kellogg's, and he's not going to miss those. An easy opener, and something that they haven't had too often. They've been losing the majority of those early fights. Seeker's also expended immediately. You mentioned the sort of spam of the ults to give them the round away, and they're going to know that there's at least a couple more players for long and a couple more players for Kellogg's to fight.
A bit of a hard rotate off as well. Sure, Kellogg's is still going to hold down on here. Why wouldn't you on that long angle? But even he may opt to rotate away. A couple of players in towards Ali, expecting maybe a split back on towards the B site. And so far, it's looking like a good read. But this is where Navi have options bang on the center of the map. You can also see some aggression out towards the A main from members of Heretics looking to contest. But here, they're going to walk in and they're going to know everything that's going on as that alarm bot goes off. This is where Navi have got to pick up the pace.
But this is the thing.
Oh, I love this.
I am looking at this round now for Heretics, and if they lose this one, I almost call it done. They've got so much map control. They know exactly where they're splitting through. If they can deny Xiao from here, they have such an opportunity. But already, CNED's going to get the opener. This gives them a good chance to plant. Boo might be able to end the round. They just get the spike plant in. And now it's left to CNED and Xiao, who's found another kill. This is starting to fall apart for Heretics.
It is as well. I mean, really, that Killjoy lockdown was the big difference maker, because it forced 2 players in towards A main and in towards the waiting arms of Xiao. Now, he's only managed to find 1, but he's kept himself alive, which means there's another angle to play up here. But they don't know about CNED towards one side. Zeke does find 2, and Heretics will prevent what could have been a very miserable half if they did not find a single round.
Yeah, they had to use a lot to basically get that round over the line, and they basically had everything. Like having that deep A control, even with the lockdown, it forced them further back, but you think there's 1 man there. That's all they had to be ready for, all they had to counter, and Xiao just makes things so awkward. And then CNED again, like, well, it's CNED. You kind of expect this sort of level from him, but the ults get them through. The trade just about comes through from Zeke. That coming down to a 1v1 is a terrifying prospect. And they still have themselves 3 ults online. So maybe this can be the springboard that brings them back into the map, but I am pretty scared that this is just going to go straight back to Navi.
I'm curious to see if we see Navi contest in towards that op as well. I mean, they know that it's there and waiting. They managed to get at least 1 past it. Not 100% sure that Kellogg's is entirely aware at this point that he has got 2 players bearing down him on towards this B long. That flash coming in is well placed, but there's no movement off the back of it. Now they know.
It's an opportunity. Viper's pick going to be used by Avova on the other side. They're going to try and force him out of it, but he actually moved back off that initial spot straight away. I think expecting some sort of response. Orb farmed up, and I think it's wise from Navi to opt to move away from this. The thing is, though, again, I like this. The last couple of rounds, Heretics have started to take space away. They're not just sitting back and waiting to play off the back of these pushes. They've realized, okay, we need map control.
They should have a good read on this, because they've had Kellogg's posted on B long here with the op for the whole round. They've also had the Viper's Pit on A main. Neither of those particularly appealing for the attackers to push into, so the only option that's really left is mid. And Zeke was up there ready to greet them, does find 1 on towards CNED, but it was immediately answered. And this again is where Navi are left with the choice. Let's also not ignore Mixwell coming up behind them on the flank through mid though. If they choose to dial back, he might find this kind of kill, and that is massive, because now they're being shot in from 3 sides, but looks the wrong way.
I just didn't realize. I think they were so convinced that this was going to be an A hit that he assumed everybody had already rotated away. A free kill, but Kellogg's does well. Gets the man advantage back. A spike plant in a pretty audacious position. Not the greatest spot to try and defend from. And in fact, they're going to have to go that little bit more aggressive with a lockdown in play. This is a troublesome prospect now for the remaining players, but Zipan's still managing to land the shot. Can he get out before he gets caught?
That's exactly the problem. I don't think he'll be able to get out in just in time. Just narrowly tries to get away. I think they got 1 player. Yes, they did, and Avova on the flank will pick up both, regardless of how many were detained.
Yeah, I was a little worried, because a Spectre coming through long on the flank, you kind of think, okay, not the most accurate of gun, not the best at range, but Avova manages to make it work, and well, they seem to thrive in the chaos, because there were moments there, like, I think Heretics did a really good job of forcing Na'Vi into where they wanted them to be, shutting down corners of the map by going in on this fast flank. It was just that moment of a slight misinterpretation on where their opponents were going to go that almost cost them the round.
For a second, I thought maybe the Killjoy was a slight overinvestment as well, and it felt like they were in that spot with the flank coming in to make it happen. But I think, as you say, Spectre on side, not really guaranteeing it's going to work out, but enough distraction coming in from the Killjoy to ensure they get that close out. Into another timeout we go, this time for Na'Vi. Clearly not happy they've dropped even 2 rounds in this map top.
Yeah, I think, again, just wanting to make sure they get as many attacker rounds as possible. Like, compositionally, you look at what's on the other side. I think, like, especially a Harbor Viper can give you a really good execution onto that B site. And a lot of the time, you are going to see heavier attack sides on this map. So I think it's a decent time to take a pause, not let them get back into the game and sort of chip away at what has been a very strong attacker side. And also, like, they still have plenty of finances, so they can make a decision of whether they want to try and counter the operator, if they want to pick up the pace and give Doomboros a chance to just spot any of the weaknesses. Because I think that's the main thing with these last 2 for Na'Vi. They could have won both. It just slipped away from them, especially the first one with the clutch.
And I think it's such a good point because they've realized themselves they get this wrong one more time and 3rd round going the way of Heretics. Na'Vi are not quite broke, but they are definitely going that way pretty quickly and want to make sure that they're winning this one out to keep the economy rolling. Equally, some more forces coming out. You can see Boo down to absolutely no cash on side. Of course, he's just consumed. The only real lot they've got on side to play with is Kellogg's, and when he's got an op in hand, why the hell would he be pulling that one out?
Yeah, I think one of the most integral pieces for Heretics so far has actually been Zeke. Just with his flashes basically being one of the main focal points of information for this squad, he has been all over the map, consistently finding out where Na'Vi are going, and then the rest of the team seems to reposition around it. So being a lot more fluid over the last couple of rounds has helped them quite a lot. The only issue is if Na'Vi manage to figure this out, it leaves some serious gaps. For example, look at the B side right now.
Like the use as well, coming over the top. Makes it easier to recover, but you are still going to be exposed to this op, and Kellogg's is picking up these kills for free across the last few rounds. Just Na'Vi giving them to him one after the other. Obviously hard to invest utility when he's in such an aggressive spot and they don't know about that, but they keep on paying the price by losing these early players, and I think that was Zipan's ultimate that was online, now no longer available to the team.
Turret destroyed.
Again, going to destroy the turret, but this time Saigetsu is waiting. Realizing that they're basically just trying to put thoughts in the back of Na'Vi's mind, they're actually going to opt to reclaim some of the space that was lost. And with Thrash online, they can actually seek out an awful lot of information, and they're going to spot 2 players back towards that art side.
Actually, we'll try and make the spike work out here as well. I think it's been down this way. That's a lie. No, it's not. It's on the floor. They have managed to stop it, but Na'Vi have got the control that they need here in towards mid as they flood in towards the site. But all behind all this utility, they've got to then find the kills. Abova gets one. Immediate trade coming in, making this plan work really far back, but it works. They'll have the long angle onto this one. They can afford to sit and play safe, but it's a 2v2.
Oh, this flank is sublime. Completely behind them. It's going to be so easy for Xiao. Just delays his timing that little bit more while his teammates split through earlier in the round. He gets the flank absolutely spot on. And Na'Vi again, another close round, another 2v2, but this time they end it in their favor. And that's the thing, you can already start to look at the finances of their opponent. You noted that if Na'Vi lose 1, maybe 2 rounds in a row, their finances would in the bin. Well, for Heretics, it actually only took 1.
I just love the read as well, because we've seen Nezusoy get to. Those are the 2 players when they're pushing in together. You've got the 2-man count that you need to play for a trade. They didn't feel they had to also commit Xiao in towards it, so it was a really smart call of his to work his way in towards spawn and come on that flank. As you say, basically all but guaranteeing them the round there with those closing 2 kills in that 2v2.
So this time Na'Vi being a bit more proactive with mid. I think they've realized that that's one of the spots that has been cleared quite easily with utility. Again though, look at the extremities. 2-man push on either side, they're going to pressure onto Zeke though. And as said, he has been the main man getting them that information. Of course he is. He's the only initiator they have. So losing him early, that could be hugely detrimental, and pushing into Xiao might just be that little bit worse.
And it's also the read on my side that, you know, Zeke has been holding close on this door in the vast majority of these rounds, especially early on, and that was their read. And even with that first kill coming out from Shao, the rest of them say, you know what, it's time to group up, and we keep on going. They're going to try and make a plant work out here as well as Wingman all the way to the back again. Run, little guy, get those legs moving as he's straight in for the plant down. Na'Vi once again in a 5v2.
Of course, that's round over. Wingman's planted. That 5v2. An easy couple for Zipan as well. This man's aim has been crisp. And after what was a couple of blips on the radar, a flawless round coming out of Na'Vi, 8 already on that attacking side. To say that Heretics need the last 2, I think is an understatement.
Warms my heart hearing all these cheers for Wingman, because I don't know if you play League of Legends back in the day?
No, I'm not sick. No, I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
Wow. There used to be a thing at events whenever you kill a pink ward, the crowd would also cheer. Sometimes games would go on so long and so slowly that all we would do is cheer for ward kills. Feels like a good throwback to those days. That was really mean.
It was.
There are a lot of League of Legends players watching this now who don't like you.
Yeah.
You just like forcing enemies, I think.
That's fine.
Is Mitch not enough?
I can live with that.
All right. Well, this time round, keeping that eye again towards Ziku. This time around has actually moved his way on towards A, so isn't looking to post up aggressively on doors. Maybe understands that now Na'Vi is starting to get a good read. Their plan more instead is have a over here and just pop down the molly and back away as soon as he hears any kind of push coming on through. Not really look to engage Na'Vi on the doors, but it's not going to stop them, forcing their way off towards the right. But Alarmbot, same spot once again, he's going to give away a little bit of information.
I'm a bit worried. They've gone back to their passive hold, and in the early rounds, they were blitzed every time they attempted this. Just allowing the execution to come through from Na'Vi has never been a particularly good plan. It started off well. Wingman looking like he's going to get them the plant as well. Even still, though, this time Heretics have managed to hold on to some sort of advantage, although Saigetsu's going to go pushing and grant them back into a 3v3.
Thought for a second they get Zipan back up, but no, there's 2 kills coming back. It's a 3 versus 2 for the side of Heretics, and by the looks of it, CNED wants no more to do with this. He's getting out of dodge.
Round.
And Shao may even look to do the same. Can he get away with it in time, though, is the question.
They've got the grab wall. They've got the grab wall, so he can definitely slow them enough. It's just whether or not there's expectation on the other side that this could be coming through, and they're already back on that defuse.
Is it enough to keep this held down here? Absolutely seems to be the case. They're still challenging them with guns, and Nabova knows that he's going to struggle here. Just being toyed with by CNED for the most part. It's Shao on an easy 2k closeout. Na'Vi up to 9-2, and this half, it feels like a 10-2 is all that it arose.
That's a really nice adaptation from Na'Vi. Like, as you said, to make a call like that is a bold call with how long it takes to sort of wrap back around. But just realizing the amount of utility that was there for Shao and confidence in his teammate, CNED just goes sprinting. And that's the thing. Heretics not expecting him to be there that late in the round, I don't blame them. Like, it's not like that's a mistake on their part. They clear it to a point where they're already on the defusal. They know where CNED last was. They know where Shao was. So the expectation is they're not going to have to look at that.
Half by round coming in as well for Heretics here. It's going to be a bit of a rough one. Oh my god, how on earth has Kelos got that close? Does a big bit of damage in towards the back line, supported by Mixwell. And even with these inferior weapons, they've started to battle their way back in. But just like that, it's equalized ever so slightly. Only a 3 versus 2 advantage for Heretics.
I like this from Mixwell, though. Just not overfacing, not risking it too much, realizing if I can get out of here, okay, I have to burn my utility to do it. But at least we managed to keep the man advantage.
I love the Viper's pit in mid as well. Na'Vi have pushed through mid, I think, more times than anything else in this entire half. And here it's a good chance to at least lock them out, and he can hold down that mid side. So you're almost forcing Na'Vi into having to stay on towards this B push. Now, sure, it forces that 2v2 for a short amount of time, of which maybe you fancy the attackers to come out on top. They do bring out the ult. They still got the Astra ult on side as well. They've got options to play with top. Here it comes.
Placing down a couple of smokes just to get them into the site. Boo, he managed to just stick around that a little bit longer, sitting back towards the spawn. It's going to leave it onto Shao. And I wonder if they're going to want to stop him before he can get this plant, because this is a man that has been fearsome for many years in clutches.
Well, if there's any time to live up to your name, it's about now. And this time round, we are going to see this come through, but will they see it? Yes, they will. The cove goes up, the wall goes up, everything is in his way. He can try his absolute best, but he won't find him in time. Heretics managed to pull it back to at least 3 rounds, and we're on to that unlucky 9-3 scoreline for Na'Vi. Somehow not convinced that it's going to be a bit of a toss-up for them, given how convincing they looked in that first half.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit there and talk about curses and say that they're going to be unhappy with that one, because 9-3 is a phenomenal attack side. I think they were adaptive, but I don't mind some of the later rounds that came out from Heretics. I think they proved that they have the ability to sort of take that map control away and actually force Na'Vi to adapt a little bit in this one. So I don't think it's a particularly terrible performance, but some of the early rounds are a little bit worrying, and the problem is you're up against Na'Vi. Just doing the same thing over and over again, eventually they're going to make that realization and take you down.
I've heard that Yinsu has hunted down a certain Na'Vi superfan, so let's throw over to them for a few words during this halftime.
Oh dear.
Thank you very much, Sebros. Now, this is a real moment in the history of VCT Valorant. I've managed to finally track down Xiao's #1 fan, Xiao Kuka. You know, you traveled far and wide to be here to support him. We have a lot of good players, though. Why Xiao? You know, you've been his #1 fan since the day he logged onto the server.
Listen, the fact that he stepped up when they needed an IGL, that he's able to perform in any agent, is just so special to me. Ever since day one, I had my eyes on him, and it has nothing to do with the fact that he just signed, well, all of them signed this jacket and gave it to me.
Can you do a quick turnaround? Because your jacket says Xiao on the back, you guys. If that doesn't convince you that this is a #1 Xiao fan, nothing will. Now, there's a lot of other people out there who are also big fans of Xiao on social media right now. Is there a hashtag they could use maybe if they want to join your cause?
Tom is there. It's the Xiao Show. Hashtag Xiao Show is the best one.
Okay, hashtag Xiao Show. Guys, make sure to tweet in your love for Xiao. Now, lastly, there's a lot of people that might think that they are better players than him. What would you like to say to that?
That they are blind. They definitely don't know what they're talking about. Last year was all about Ye. Look at him now with this guy's toast. That's what you get from plays like that. With Xiao, you will only get wins.
Oh, okay. Well, she said it. You only get wins, and it looks like Na'Vi might just close this one out. Des and Tom, I'm going to throw this back to you and see if they can.
So that was Yinsu with, I think it's Team Heretics Kakuka is her full title. Team Heretics Kakuka you have there. I don't know if other jersey got lost in the post. I don't know what's happened there. I mean, maybe someone has to have some words.
Must have been a mistake in the printing
office.
office.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping for maybe some uplifting talk about how Heretics are going to turn this one back, and instead, well, we basically got the #1 member of the Xiao fan club. So, yeah, not looking too good for Heretics.
What you don't know is she was actually a Heretics fan coming into this, and then it's like the Homer Simpson meme where like going back into the bush and coming out with a change.
Okay.
That's what she's done.
So you're calling Kakuka a glory hunter, is what you're saying?
Absolutely is what I'm calling her.
Wow.
And it's a great time to be a glory hunter.
Ooh, a little bit of damage done through. They've taken the space. And Na'Vi almost forced immediately to just try and play a retake at this point. So there are going to be the afterplant set up.
I don't think they mind because a lot of the utility was invested coming in on the attacking side there. Sure enough, Zipan will not be slowed down. Finds Typical Kellogg's. Equally another player that will not stop in that first half is carrying on here into the second. A little bit of a wallbang coming into Kellogg's to shut him down. 2 left standing for the side of Heretics. Mixwell finds 1. Instant trade out. Good team play by Na'Vi and pushing forward with numbers.
He doesn't have the greatest spot for this. It's just going to be expectations, but they don't know that he's here. And Xiao is still going to trade things out. Yeah, my worry was if they just get on the defuse, there's not actually a lot he could do to stop that, but I think they were expecting him to be more passive towards main, so the surprise factor almost working out for Boo by name and nature.
Also ready to turn around and be like, a bad position, you say? Interesting.
For where the spike was planted, it was a bad position.
Yeah, you prefer towards B towards A main. I get it. But for me, again, it was the stacking up where, you know, Na'Vi grouped up in numbers. They let the plant go down and then looked for that retake once we'd seen the attackers kind of scatter out to try and assume these better positions to play inside of. And the problem is they were a little bit too scattered and just could not win out the absolute frag fest that ensued.
Yeah, they're actually going to force as well. Like that's going to be the thing for Heretics, is they're so far down at this stage.
They've got no choice.
They want to try and basically get themselves into the game a little bit earlier. And with a pacey attack into the B site, this might be a nasty surprise. The thing is, though, Na'Vi have gone for 4 rifles.
Oh, Kellogg's caught on the way in as well by CNED. Sure enough, they are walking into a little bit of a slaughterhouse, spraying through the smoke, finding no one. Zipan gets 1. CNED into his second of the round before Soiketsu joins up for the assist. And Boo's the only one left standing. It's going to be an absolute wipeout here for the side of Heretics, who are absolutely broke and still scrapping for a way back into this game.
Yeah, that's the sort of risk and reward. If it fails, you're left in the bin. Like, there's nothing you can really do here. And the fact is, normally, I wouldn't have minded this sort of force because Na'Vi are a team, as said, that go for 2 pistols, 3 rifles most of the time. One of them maybe being a Guardian or a Bulldog or something of the sort. The thing is, though, last round, they didn't. They bought 4 rifles. I think they knew that something was coming, knew that they're close enough to the end of this match that they can take that extra risk to confirm that bonus round. And now going into the Logitech G power-up round, well, you're looking at Sheriffs. That's literally it.
Not forgetting, of course, we still have 2 more maps to come. This is a best of 3. Lotus and Ascent will follow not long after. This one being Navi's map pick, not all that surprising.
Lotus will.
Yeah. We'll see what happens when we get there, first and foremost. But it's one of those that I'm looking at and really thinking for Pearl. You know, both teams like this map as well. If there was ever going to be a good showing out of Heretics, really it was going to be here. But right now, it's still Navi. Oh my God. Looking like a game of ranks here. Looks absolutely unreal. I was just completely bowled them down, and Boo has been the last man left standing in a good few of these matchups. It feels like it's not going to change here as well. Down to 30 HP. Oh, nice tap onto CNET, but this round is done.
Yeah, Angel's hunting for that ace. Trying to do it for all us old boys out there. And the rest of the team is sitting back. Nobody looking to try and steal it, trying to help him out. Angel's going to take himself the ace to make it 12 on the board. Thrash already available as well, as if they needed anything else.
They absolutely do not, but you ain't going to say no when it's online and ready to go. You know, equally on the other side, Kellogg's in a mile away himself. He's been getting a couple of kills across a few of these rounds. Maybe we'll see the dives come out if things get a bit too close. As for the bait as well, I mean, you saw once we saw it come running over the top straight away, all guns turned skyward, and that really just opened Angel up to go absolutely nuts.
Well, this is it. Heretics, this might be their only full buy going into the attacker side. CNET is going to dodge the initial flash. It took them ages to spot that he was even there. A little disrespectful to even stick around, and opening again, going the way of Na'Vi. They have dominated those first duels. And the thing is, they don't even know that Xiao is here.
But I'm sure enough the read should be coming in now to the 2 members of Na'Vi that are offside to get across here, but they've got a nice little crossfire set up on them ready to go. Xiao, a little bit too close to the Nanoswarm to do any damage as well.
Here.
But need to see a play come in, whether it's Kellogg's or someone else. Someone's got to make something happen. Otherwise, all you're going to see is these last 2 members of Na'Vi rotate back over, and you lose out in that 5v4.
It's almost getting to the point where I wonder if this push is worth it.
But they think yes. Xiao. They even know that he's here? I'm guessing no. A couple of trades come in between the 2 sides as well. I mean, for now at least, Heretics have established some site control, but can't look to get the plant down just yet as the last 2 members flood back in. Sure, it's a 3 versus 2. Kellogg's, like I said, he has the knives online if he wants them. Don't think he'll pop them out here as well, or Karen with a rifle at least for this round. Who wins out in this 2v2, Tom?
Well, I have to go
30
Na'Vi,
seconds
but
left.
we'll see what happens. Zipan already putting the first nail in the coffin. Left on Taboo. Full HP at least. Kellogg's did what he could, but this needs a miracle, and the timing couldn't be any worse. It's another trouncing for Heretics as they face Na'Vi on their map choice. Pearl looking all too easy for the Masters, or the second Masters winners of last year. I don't think they're going to be sweating too much going into the next map as well, so this needs to be a team talk coming through from Heretics. Obviously, we've seen some vulnerabilities within their map pool as of recently, but they're going to have to show that they put the prep in, put the work in when it comes to Lotus. Otherwise, this is going to be a very quick day of Valorant.
I look back at how last week went in their game against Fnatic as well, right? They were, what, 13-3 on the first map, 13-6 on the second?
That's twice as good.
I mean, yeah, but is it enough to get a map win?
Against Na'Vi?
You're such an optimist. I absolutely love this about this guy.
Yeah, optimist.
Let's go to a break. When we come back, Des has got you covered. See you in a few.
Would be good to kill them, to be honest. Nice shot, best. Nice, best shot, best in it. But what was that?
Red Bull gives you wings.
Zero distraction. Zero doubt. Zero opposition.
What is this from Ye? He is currently unstoppable.
Match found.
They want to dance? Ha! I'll lead.
Fight!
I need to blow something up.
kills remaining. Five kills remaining. One kill remaining. Got him.
Even if that kind of part would have failed, there would have been still the guys on Xiao and Angel life. So it really feels like there's no flaw so far.
Angel made the list this time? He's made the
on.
list. He's made the list. I mean, you can take a Zipan off of his duelist, but I don't think you can take the duelist out of Zipan at all. But I mean, on the other side, though, I do want to say, because for Heretics, it's just not looked good. You know, we know there's a bit of a curse when you have to face Fnatic and RV back-to-back in weeks. It's not probably the best thing to do. But it's not just the Fnatic game that they looked a little bit shaky. And Vincent, I know you have a bit of a concerning stat as well when it comes to just how woeful it's looked for them.
Let's hear this.
Hear me out. So obviously, as we all know, there was this great victory from Heretics that was against Corman Corp. So they were practicing against VCL teams, basically. That was a 13-2 and 13-5. Great numbers, right?
He just called scream.
But the problematic part is at that point in time that they have overall from the entirety of VCT EMEA 7 rounds roughly won per map. And
on average.
And without that Corman Corp game, 5. 5. And you need 13 to win.
I'm not going to say the rhyme that we have in Spanish for the 5. So, it's not looking good. It's definitely concerning. Spanish speakers definitely know what I'm talking about. But
do they turn it around on Lotus? Is this the place where they turn it around?
No. So the thing is that they were in a very similar situation against Svopolis, right? Oh. And it looked shaky. It seemed like they were going to perform that comeback in Lotus. They got, I think, 8 rounds in the first half. It looked like we were, going through. The Heretics was about to get a win, and then everything went to, I'm not going to say that word, but it looked very concerning, the fact that they, in 10 rounds of defense, they only managed to get 1.
I'm just going to throw a span in the works here, but in this moment in time, are the best Lotus team. So do you take anything away from that?
No.
Giants just 13-1 coin Lotus.
Yeah.
But has not lost on Lotus.
I'll join.
Unbeaten. Undefeated.
I'm investing in the foot stock.
Yeah, but so it's surely losing to FUT. Everyone else also lost to them on Lotus.
That's a fair point, right? We had this conversation even on the desk back in the day when they were like, if they get this and this many rounds on attack, their defense is going to look so much better, right?
Yeah.
So I see your point, and particularly considering how Navi played on that map recently, it could have been like, you know what? If there's something to win here, it would be for the side of Heretics, because it didn't look too great last time around for Navi. But to be honest, first week Navi is centuries away from this week Navi.
I don't think it's centuries away.
Let me just exaggerate. Come on.
I think it's just one step ahead. I think that they're taking the right steps, though, because one of the things that was a highlight for me on week 1 from Navi is the fact that, for example, Xiao was not comfortable on that Gecko. I don't think Angel was either. I think that now they've had probably more than 1 or 2 scrims with it, and I want to see a Xiao that if he goes back on that Gecko, they've learned a lot about some of the micros that, for example, Giants were doing. I think that there's so many things yet to learn from this Lotus that they need to implement as soon as possible, because otherwise it's just going to slow down their growth.
And I wouldn't be surprised if we see composition number right, at this point in time.
Yeah.
Right? That wouldn't be too surprising, to be very honest, because as you've mentioned, they've done the same thing on Ascent from the Koi game. Now they're swapping it over potentially again.
Well, let's see as we head into Agent Select if we are going to see any changes. Heretics already brought out something new on Pearl, but have they had enough time to do that? They have.
Hold up.
It looks like they have. It is a Kellogg's Neon.
Okay, so we're going back.
Oh, dear Lord.
What is happening?
Okay.
It's so bad?
I like this. I like this.
Wait, are they sure they didn't get the wrong map?
You know how
Why is
CNED
Navi playing without a duelist?
You know how CNED misclicked last week on the
He did. He misclicked, yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, he misclicked.
Sure. He misclicked.
Yeah.
Are we? Is this just a pattern now? Misclicking? Is this a thing?
I need to see growth from CNED on the Omen. A lot of things were off timing last time, but you know, again, you were right about the composition. I really want to see how they're going to make this work. Probably they've learned and definitely understood that they rather have double initiator and double controller, plus a sentinel to have literally control over the entirety of Lotus. They were playing everything for retake. Now they have a little bit extra to throw in.
And we're talking about the foot thing, right? And most importantly is the matter of fact that this is the first time we see Kellogg's on Neon, and they come closer and closer to that foot composition. I think that is super important to see because this could be the change that maybe catches Navi off guard.
Well, let's see if they can catch him off guard. Our casters are having a boogie in the room, guys. What are you dancing to?
We're basically at a party at this point, aren't we? It's the Navi merry-go-round of agents.
That was someone else. I think maybe that was the Turkish caster. We just look
those
very,
guys
very
like
similar.
dancing.
I'm very like calm, collected. I never do it. Never dance. It's not me at all. We've got a lot to talk about. We've got some cool agent compositions coming through. I'm really excited to see how this matchup is going to go. We were talking in the green room before to Vincent, and I was going, I think you're going to see some like crazier stuff today. And he went, what? You think Navi are going to pull something else crazy out of the bag? And I was like, yes, definitely. And I think we've got it. I think running a double controller, double initiator, removing out the Gecko, which was actually a very big part of a lot of their executions when they played against Koi. And rather than sort of changing things up in a way of like working out how to fix things, they went, okay, we're going to move away from that completely and run a completely different composition. On the other side of things, then having the Neon brought into play, very exciting stuff. I think it's an agent that can work fantastically well on this map, but it needs a lot of support. And that's been my main criticism of this Heretics side. You need to set Kellogg's up. You can't expect him to do it all on his own.
And equally on the other side, you're looking at Shao coming across, of course. We haven't really seen him empty in place before. What he's done before has always been the Gecko when you look at the lineups, how it's played across before. So quietly excited to see how he does this over here as well, what that brings into the lineup too.
So
not forgetting, the last time around that we saw this map out of Navi on Play Day 1 against Koi, it was the longest game.
Rounds?
Exactly, a 38-round game, 20-18. It was absolute chaos. And now I'm thinking, based on how map 1 went, this could be one of the shorter series that we see out of Navi.
We'll have to wait and see. Mixer already trying
It's
to
their pick after all.
push that little bit more aggressively in towards the B site, looking like an afterplant, Nion guaranteed, and already being encroached on. The one thing that makes this interesting, though, is the lurk out of Avova, playing at distance, trying to lock down anybody rotating in from the other side. But for now, at least, the majority are looking to wait their mate back in, not from the A side.
I felt this is such a critical angle to hold as well and be able to, contest as the Omen playing out towards one side, but on site is where it's all going down. Angel and Shao get one back apiece so far, and at this point it's ring around to Smokey. It's two of them going back and forth, and it's Avova to come out on top, secure and at least out towards Ruins here, Rubble, sorry, and now we'll see what the push comes through like. On site itself, Navi have that control, it's Boo to fall, and I'm wondering at this point, Heretics are saying it's done and dusted and we're getting out of dodge.
Yeah, I don't know if there's even going to be enough time. It won't matter anyway because Avova's landed the shot before they can even get anywhere near it. And Mixor is going to be there at the end to pick off the remaining two. A pistol round for Heretics, an important start on their map choice.
Yeah, massive start as well. Just going straight for the jugular, straight to the center of the map and keeping it explosive. It's what you like to see. Again, when we saw them a little bit at points, unconvincing is probably the best way I can describe it in the nicest terms. See them turn it around here, at least in the first round, is a real big statement for them that actually this could yet go to all three maps.
Wow, it's only going to be a minute investment this time from Navi. An aggressive start by the looks of things. A lot of early players towards that A side of the map, but with the Viper screen already down to give that extra space and a little bit of control taken on the other side to potentially garner an orb for Angel. Other than that, they are stacking up this A side, so maybe a chance to do a little bit of extra damage.
Really keen to see what the pressure looks like when it comes out at some stage as well, making use of the Neon, as we've spoken about a few times here. Hasn't been the big hit in the previous round, but I imagine in a run up towards A or even in towards C and going deep on that, that's when you'll really see this agent start to come online. Slow progress so far, with the Killjoy now rotating over to join them as well by the looks of things. And here we go once again. It's going to be that hit straight in towards B, and Kellogg's sliding down in front of Zagetsu and dropping him into the grave. They've got the B control entirely here, and Na'Vi are now the ones that have to rotate back on.
I'll be interested to see how much of their attack side revolves around this B side. Back-to-back rounds, we've seen them go for after plants on B. Not the most common, because it is probably the easiest of the lot to go for those retakes. Obviously in this round, not much of an expectation on the other side.
Nope.
And keeping things squeaky clean. Really good start from Heretics so far.
Yeah, big hit. And as well, I think it's the pace they're coming at as well. And you and I were talking about Neon in the pre-game scene. Well, as you said, we're in a jet meta at the minute, it seems. Everyone's running that as their go-to duelist. And you said, we don't really see all that much more Neon. Like, when you do play, you've got to put that support in behind her. And, let's be nice. Kellogg's one of those players that we've seen several times be a little bit too far ahead of the rest of his team when it goes to looking for entry engagements. At least here he's still playing quite close to his team and he's let off the leash a little bit when it comes around to the execute itself, as you saw a 2K at the start of that last round. Things are looking good so far, and Na'Vi's struggling to deal with the pace.
Wow, a lot of early utility expended by either side. Flash into Paranoia and actually just giving up that map control almost immediately. Killjoy set up in on this C side and having all of Harbor's util still ready to try and segment any sort of push, but this is pacey from Heretics.
It is, and they've got to try and push their way through the wall, mind you, and it looks like they might well just try and go for it. They haven't been deterred by the Harbor wall coming up, and here we go. Utility gets dropped in. Kellogg's is straight in, but Angel finds him first. Not before Zeke, though. Gets the train back on the other side. Out come the Seekers, too, as Heretics once again flood the site, and Na'Vi are nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, upgrading some of the weaponry as they go, leaving this as a pretty awkward retake. A stack up of utility, one of the controllers already down, and it's going to be a tough way back in unless Zipan can maybe find something.
Really need to help themselves get something back on side here as well, because again, it's going to be a broke round otherwise coming out. Zipan does get the one, but here comes Zeke and Mixwell finding themselves two, and now it's Xiao pushing in with a little bit of help coming out from the recon dart, but that is pretty much all he is going to find. Below half HP, opts instead by the looks of it to try and hold on to this rifle. Is going to back away. Are they okay over there?
Oh, this is what I love. We're right next door to the Spanish casters, who, by the way, are both, they're dressed in not only one with a Heretics jersey and the other with a Heretics scarf, but the second Heretics get like a big round, you could just hear them losing their minds. Very much enjoyable.
Are you suggesting they're biased towards Heretics, Tom?
Never, of course not.
No, they wouldn't do that. They're consummate professionals.
It was just a coincidence with the attire.
A
bit like Kukuka just happened to be wearing that Na'Vi jacket.
It is exactly the same thing, I guarantee. But yeah, good little switch of things there as well, coming out from Heretics, moving their way off towards the other side, and you're responding well so far, it feels. It's really on Na'Vi here to be the ones that need to wake up into this game, because Heretics have dragged them around the map so far, forced them into post plants constantly, with no real site control established when the hit does come through, and it's just making things look really awkward for Na'Vi.
Yeah, I'm liking the pacing as well of Heretics. Very direct. They're not necessarily leaving too many lurks around, just basically trying to work off the trades, get those entries into the site, which Kellogg's have been working wonders. And again, just I feel like keeping things a little bit more basic than they have done with some of their other compositions, and just going for not only agents that historically have been pretty decent for some of the players, but ones that maybe have that little bit of extra comfort.
You got Angel trying to poke his head forward, did take out that turret, which really has kind of convinced Heretics, okay, that's the way to push. Now this time around, Na'Vi are here to meet them. The problem is they're largely down on guns. Only Xiao has a rifle to be able to contest onto this one, so really, Heretics should be able to blitz their way through. They find themselves one, looking into a second, but Xiao's there first, so he gets into another, and finally Xiao does fall. Rifle now in Angel's hands, and can he turn anything around? He finds one for himself, but that looks to be all that she wrote. Boo with the closing kill. Heretics up 4-0.
Yeah, they actually committed the Reckoning to that. I think that was the ult thrown out by Na'Vi, so they clearly thought in their minds, okay, we got a good opportunity to win this one. And I almost feel like just the sheer confidence of Heretics to actually fight in towards their spawn, deny them that extra space, getting back in and isolating those individual duels. A risk taken by Na'Vi, and one that hasn't paid off, and for that, they're going to take themselves a pause, because right now, they're just being blitzed by the side of Heretics with just these pacey takes.
They're doing really, really well. Massive turnaround compared to what we saw back on the previous map. you know, making good use of the neon, the aggression, the knee slides in, Lukarokchik getting in there, finding a couple of opening kills and really just exploding things up for the rest of the team. You know, we saw this back on the first map, 5 rounds in, we had Navi ahead, I believe it was 5-0. And that's when we saw a tactical timeout come in. A similar thing coming in here for Heretics after just 4, and Navi are now the ones that have got to try and figure out a way back into the game.
Yeah, well, they've already got more rounds on Heretics' side than they did in the entirety of the last map, so
it's a good sign.
It's definitely looking very, very good here. Again, though, this is something that Navi and the Masters have taken a pause, adapting their style, because the thing is so far, firstly, that just with how quick a lot of these rounds are to get into the afterplant, it's been very difficult for them to sort of play around with the map and get their rotations in time. Obviously, there's going to be the argument that, again, the more Heretics do this, the easier it is going to be to read, but they've been switching up regularly what map control they're fighting for early in the round, and again, they're going to switch it once more. The difference this time, though, CNED has an op.
Yes, and the whole team's gone for a full buy, as you can see, only half shields on the op player, expecting that you will see him sat at least a little bit further back here, but it's what they can do with this. If they lose this op, this will be really painful, so thinking getting out here was the right call.
I like this, though. Already a flash thrown in, forcing him back completely stunned up as well, so they've done well with their utility to just make these initial battles that much more awkward. And now Xiao's going to be the one under pressure again, just making their move towards this A site within the first 30-40 seconds of the round. And although the rest of the team are maybe being that little bit more patient, Kellogg's has got that control.
I like the aggression out of Xiao so far. Got the dog quite early on, sent the owl round as well. The owl drone just looking for that little bit of information. Are they still pushing in through here? But now their worst nightmare comes to life. Out comes the lockdown, and that's another thing that we're going to have to see Navi worry about.
I think they've got to respect it. CNED waiting around that little bit longer just to try and catch them. It doesn't really matter that he gets detained, he escapes, that's the main thing. Now the lurking Zeke in mid has been taken out, finally having a man advantage, but with the Viper's Pit now being expended as well, they are using everything on the Heretic side.
Understandably so, because again, Navi have invested so much in trying to win this round at the back of the timeout. Heretics do not want to give them an inch of room to breathe. Now Navi have found themselves a couple of kills back here and may still be in with a chance, but can they play around these ults effectively? It's a 3v2, but Boo on the flank has got 2. That's the kind of shutdown you're looking for.
The thing is, they're going to be so low. Already just spammed out by Boo. And as the pit drops by Mixwell, he's going to take their heads clean off. Really good adaptation, a step up individually. And Navi, well, we said it, they threw a lot into that one. They put in the operator, full buy on every single player. But just having those couple of extra ults and some fantastic gunplay coming out from Boo as well, that's enough to put this one over the line. That was a 2v4 that they just lost.
It was, yeah, that's the real kicker, I think. But again, so much invested by Heretics and well used, backing off the ultimates. Really looking to take the war to Navi there, to slow them down, and it was the right call. Because now all you've got is Angel playing on the back of a Guardian, the other 4 all sat on Sheriffs and Pistols. It's just not looking like a good round for Navi, basically going into an eco here. Although one does come across, and I'm pretty sure they'll fancy Kellogg's rifle given the opportunity to collect it.
Yeah, this is a bit of a heavier investment from Angel. The rest of the team basically saving for the next round, but he invested into the Guardian, maybe trying to make this one that little bit more costly, but also gives them a bit more of an opportunity to win this one. Again, though, the slow walk up, but for once we actually do have a lurk coming through from the side of Heretics, maybe hoping that the presence on one side of the map is going to give them space elsewhere. Nice shot from Zeke, will drop 1, and now with his teammate making that move in towards the C site, potential realization that this is clear. Ooh. They could have some space, but they're rotating forward into more and more players.
This is looking real good for Navi here again, playing on the lesser gun round too. Coming out pretty big, but still every chance it doesn't go their way. CNED doing work with the Guardian into this round, and it looks like Navi have battled their way back in, even if they had to commit the Killjoy ult.
A corner that Boo, I'm pretty sure, wasn't expecting to hide in, and he's now been spotted as well. Information had for Navi to lose the round from here would be a pretty incredible clutch out from Boo. 3 players all sat on the spike, just
all with
waiting
rifles
for
now
him.
as well. Really geared up and made sure to loot the dead bodies of the Heretics players. Finally, they will get that first round on the board. Look, it took Heretics a bit of a time on the first map as well. And for Navi, it's taken them a bit of time too, but now finally they can start playing the game.
Yeah, that's the thing, is it's one of those rounds where I feel like it's the first time we've properly seen a lurk actually come out from Heretics, and just unlucky, really, that it actually bites them. But because you go rotating, going, okay, the C site is currently clear, our teammates cleared it, and that rotation through B was actually where the majority of Na'Vi players were waiting for them as they tried to push back. Obviously, for now, it still just looks like a blip on the radar of Heretics. They've been the dominant force so far, and with Overdrive ready for keloqz, again, I'm expecting him to make that move very quickly.
They're trying to work their way in towards A main and march their way forwards. We've seen them open door into tree a couple of times so far. Sino, not saying that, okay, I've only seen it a couple of times, doesn't mean I'm a full commit towards holding this one out or backing away from it, sorry. But here we go, once again, this pace from Heretics has just been frankly unbelievable, but they didn't respect that Sinob was sat just inside a tree. And he gets the bite back, brings down one, still not full control of site established, and for now, Heretics have been forced to sort of back away and reassess what they want to do, and the answer, of course it is to split straight across into B.
Shock darts could do a lot of damage here.
If they know where this is coming in as well, and sure enough out comes Zut as well, the Reckoning being dropped in by Angel, which makes this a little bit harder. The lovely threads of gold, which indicating exactly where the players are. Continues marching its way forward, and finally it's timed out. Is this a rotate off towards C they're pulling out here as well? It's just a bait.
That's the thing, this has been the most expected of moves. The rest of the team from Na'Vi are fully ready for any sort of C-site execution. Instead, though, it is going to be that hitting towards the B-site. Afterplant garnered once again. No ultimates available for either side that will likely change this round. They have to be careful of that spawn push, though, from Cena.
That's the problem, right? I mean, even with here, Zipan starting to get back into that form we saw on the previous map. Paranoia comes across, finds one straight through the smoke as well. Zeke elsewhere brings him down, Avova into a second. It's Avova against two. Sined and Shao finds one for himself, but has now got to look for Shao. Rage! Avova finds the 3K and clutches it out for Heretics.
And they were both tagged so desperately low. Even still, just managing to isolate each individual fight. Avova, top of the board, 8 and 4 right now. And while it's still going to be a purchase for Na'Vi, but again, they seem to be on their last legs in terms of the economy, getting dominated when it comes to this defensive side.
Even when they're committed ultimates as well. I mean, look, he didn't get to do that very much during the first map. Give him his dues, right?
No, it's definitely been a roller coaster.
This is the battle now, though, because like you were saying, the bank is kind of broken. Sure, they've got a few rifles on side. Ultimate's nowhere near ready. He invested a good few of those, whereas on the side of Heretics, they just keep on rolling. Bank not looking too bad for Zeke and Avova. They've got both ults online. More coming up soon as well. It's a dire time to be a Na'Vi fan and a Na'Vi player.
Yeah, and it looks like they're almost just letting Zenit off the leash. Things haven't been working, so he's looking to try and take that little bit of extra map control, mean they can gamble players elsewhere. And it's unusual, but you can actually see they've committed 2 players into the B site right now because of how many hits Heretics have either had that land on B or go through B. They've been using it as almost a pincer to allow them another spot of the map for free.
So a really frustrating thing about this map sometimes is you can try and focus on one site and just immediately rotate it towards B if you feel things aren't quite going your way. And it's a lot for the defenders to hold on to across the entire map. Their rotations through the back of the map, maybe a little bit longer than what the attackers have to worry about when pushing in through the mid.
This time at least, it does seem like Na'Vi have
I think in my ear, by the way, you are quieter than the Spanish casters.
Okay. I'm a little bit calmer right now.
You are, I like it.
30 seconds left.
Feels chill.
Or being taken. Pressure being putting him once again. Lockdown likely to force them back. And for Zipan especially, he's in a bit of a tough spot, I say that. He comes out on top. The push forward from Xiao, however, is not going to deem the same results.
And they managed to force them all the way back in towards spawn here. Na'Vi, all 4 players now gathering up here towards heaven and trying to force their way. 1 down towards pit, but also 2 on towards short. It looks like they'll get away with neither. Smoking off in towards tree, at least for now. But it's Na'Vi that have got all the work to do this round.
And the question is, did they really even go for this? They've got to clear Avova, and that has been impossible. Zenit's going to find 1, but the trade is instantaneous. And now he's the only one remaining versus 3. And we've already seen how filthy some of the afterplants will be. Not even needed. keloqz in their faces once again, 7-1 up. I want to know who had that on their bingo card going in after map number 1.
Certainly not me. I really thought, okay, maybe we see him get a few more rounds, up to 6 or 7, and the rest will be all Na'Vi, but as it stands...
Not in the first 8 rounds.
No, no, no. We are careering towards that map 3.
Yeah, it's one that, again, I think is firmly in the favor of Na'Vi, but The fact that Heretics are starting to make a show of this, the fact that a lot of their players seem to almost steamroll forward once they get going. It might be the only way that they can win this series, just getting that confidence up. And right now, well, they're playing some very, very clean Valorant. And on the other side of things, Na'Vi are having to try and take some risks, and those risks are not paying off.
Trying to kind of shoehorn them in here with this Harbor wall just inside of site itself to, one, force them into the cross, and two, expose themselves to the long angle being held out by the defenders. But that really is enough, it feels, to the side of Heretics. They've said, right, we know you've rotated players over. Now's our time to push off and go and hit the A site. We've got the Viper of Mixwell in deep here as well and able to do some damage, which means on Tree, there's only one player. TP comes through, but it's immediately cancelled out. It's keloqz to find one. They simply cannot be stopped right now, Tom.
Yeah. Oh, maybe not. Cast the Curse returns. 2 instant headshots from the Sheriffs, but again, they double back. Mid-round calls have been sublime by Heretics, and another afterplant already.
And all tucked in behind the wall as well. So difficult because in a way, Na'Vi have sort of hindered themselves on a push back through here, which makes things even more difficult to work with. I'm with you as well. I think the mid-round rotations coming out of Heretics, sublime just in their calls in this round to go from C to A to then split in towards B. Again, it's dragging Na'Vi all around the map. And they look a little bit lost here, like all they can do is go along for this wild ride as Zeke finds one. And now they know the bottleneck is all coming in through this single little doorway that should be an easy mowdown. Shao finds one, instantly traded out, a 2 versus 1. I think Sogetsu knows that this round is done.
Yeah, nothing to lose, of course, with only a pistol available, but they are making this look very, very easy. And I'm liking the mix as well that we have currently coming out from the likes of Heretics, is you've got these sort of aggressive players like keloqz who are getting up in the faces of their opponent, who are constantly pushing map control. And then you have the likes of Boo, who just isn't dying. 7 and 3. They barely died this entire map so far. He's just playing passive, waiting for those afterplants. We've seen the same from Evolver at times as well. He's been the most, I guess, varying player. Like, some rounds, he's been pushing in towards the link and just basically fighting them in their face. The next round, he's passive and waiting for an afterplant. And it has been so hard for Na'Vi to read. You can see it on their retakes. Is sometimes they're expecting them to be all the way back, and then they get caught by an aggressive player. The next time, they're expecting them to be close, and there's no one there.
Just rough. Understandably so, why they've used their second timeout in this half as well, not wanting to try and hold on to it for the second. And really for Heretics, you know, more of the same. It seems even after that first timeout, Na'Vi couldn't figure out the answer, just the pace at which they're coming, largely enabled by that Neon as well, is just letting Heretics shine and really show what they're all about.
Yeah, I think that keloqz, you might look at the scoreboard, look at him 8 and 7, but the amount of times they've gone into a site and just basically had that for free, I think they've done well at getting the ultimates available as well for the likes of Boo, so they can have a round where they just get the site for free in the lockdown, and their afterplants have been, I want to say, almost perfect. So there's not really a lot of criticism you can have right now for Heretics, and I do wonder, like, this comp coming out from Na'Vi, it seems to have a lot missing when it comes to being able to take map control away from their opponents. Now, they're going to try it in this round with just all-out aggression from CNED, but I think that's been one of the major failures from this comp, is you can find out where they're going, but turtling up hasn't mattered when 5 men hit the site.
No. The thing is, I see a C hit coming in and I'm just like, is this really a C hit, or are they going to turn around at the last second? In fact, no, now far too much has been committed. The space being made once again by keloqz as he just charges in, sliding on forward. And sure, Angel gets one back, but every time there is a kill for Na'Vi, there is a player on Heretics there to take the trade.
And again, Viper's Pit available. Now Seekers might help them out. Actually, never mind.
Oh, dear.
Viper's Pit gone. Spammed out by Xiao. A hugely impactful kill. Tiger also going to give away the positions of at least one of the remaining players. And in terms of ults, there's nothing left for Heretics. They're locked in by CNED. And even the turret just being online lets him know that nobody has left. They'd obviously hear the door if they tried to go in that direction. So right now, at least, information is had by Na'Vi.
Only the one player option to take out the Seekers there as well does kind of ask that question. Okay, where is the second player? Not always needing to connect to be useful to you, but that turret still stands. It's just waiting, and now finally gets to save it off as they move a little bit too far away. It seems that this is where Synod now starting to look for his march on forward. Here comes the Hunter's Fury, spots one, an instant TP out as well, but it might well turn into a second. No, it's just going to miss, but here we go. This is the flank that we were looking for. I think they have absolutely no idea that Synod is here, and he could ruin the round for them. Tries to go for a spray, just about finds his man. Boo's left standing, not going to have enough time to make this one work as they try and spray through once again. In fact, no, will complete. Now he's got to win the 1 versus 2. But that's another Leo moment there. Shock Dart comes on through. Na'Vi find their second.
Yeah, a big round from them. Again, a lot committed, and it at most points looked like that was going to be a Heretics round. Fantastic entries once again. It was just the denial, actually, from Xiao. That was it. It was just being able to spam out that player while they were using the Viper's Pit was enough to turn this round on its head. If they get that into an afterplant with the Viper's Pit down, I don't believe there's any possibility, and that was just a sheer read from Xiao as to where that player was.
Had the ping coming in as well that maybe just guided himself there a little bit, not so much onto the player, but more just as a loose homing beacon that proved out to be exactly the right spot. If Na'Vi turn this round to be an 8-4 now, that is going to be absolute madness.
It would be something.
It doesn't really feel like, I mean, in being honest with you, with how stompy these rounds have been, it feels like they don't deserve that kind of scoreline. Like a 9-3 might be the one.
Oh, it's so aggressive from Synod, but he gets nothing for it. They deny them completely in this early aggression, and Xiao's just going to go for a miracle play, stucking them up with no friends left.
Yeah, one at least at range here, Angel. But I think we can see exactly which way this round is going unless there is a miraculous 2v4. Angel goes nice and low. Still committing pretty hard, though, here on towards the A-hit.
Yeah, they're going to double back instantly. The second the realization that there is both players on this side of the map, you can already just see Boo completely hightailing it. Actually not going to opt to pick up the orb, wanting the space more than the ult. But I guess if they give him the spike, they'll have that lockdown for post-plant, and wow, that's going to be a tough break for anybody on the other side.
It's interesting given it was the Killjoy obviously about to come online that would all but guarantee this round once they get it down, but for now at least the commit coming in is that both players from Na'Vi rotate away from A, temporarily making this a 2 versus 2.
Surely you let Boo plant. Okay, well they're going to be denied by the Reckoning.
Okay.
And they're actually
pushing
back. The thing is, the door being opened can now actually give the information needed for Saigetsu. This kill's for free, but it's based on Saigetsu just being in a bit of a surprising position.
I mean, Saigetsu, as you say, a bit of a surprise, but the wall might do just enough. The thing is, they know that they've planted into the full spot so many times. This time doesn't even bother trying to spray through the wall to find his man. Instead, does he dare? Waits for it to go down, finds 2 for himself. Oh my God, may have almost turned his back on its head, but he has no idea where Zeke is coming from. Gonna tap, looking the wrong way. Does he look high? On comes the alarm bot, nothing really coming off the back of that, but that's all the information that he needs to try and turn this on its head. But he's got a bait, and Zeke, what a peek coming out.
Nice attempt. A nice attempt from Na'Vi to turn around that again looked inevitable. But that's the thing for Heretics. A lot of these rounds have looked incredibly dominant, and it's only been those sort of clutch plays, the double kill that came out. The fact is, again, like I mentioned it, this composition doesn't look great for those sort of aggressive takes because you don't. The only real like sort of damage you can do is off the back of a nano swarm or off of a shock dart, which again, in comparison to even what they had with Gecko or Raze, it just doesn't have the same effect. So instead, Heretics have challenged them for every little bit of ground. Nice shot from Zipan, though.
He got a couple of ults to play behind as well. I mean, let's ignore the Omen one for now and look more towards Saigetsu with the lockdown. That really is the big one here that might yet save them, but Boo has his online as well. So the two not quite cancelling each other out, but they are going to have a massive sway on this last round of the half. Use it or lose it, boys. It's about time to get it online.
Well, a little bit of extra information available.
And again, it's that hit towards B.
Both teams having a lockdown. I wonder if there's going to be the counter from Saigetsu. There will be. So basically just having no impact. Both teams are going to be forced back off what they wanted, and this now makes things that little bit tougher for the side of Heretics. They're going to go quickly in towards the A site, trying to react to that lockdown that was put on the other side. Boo's going to try and hold them in towards tree. 2 players ready and waiting. The flash leaves so many blind, but it's actually a good trade. In fact, Mixwell comes back with 3! That looked like a round where Na'Vi had them dead to rights, but Mixwell comes up huge. And now Saigetsu, 1v3 to try and get that curse.
just when it looked for a second like Na'Vi might have a way back in, Heretics slam the door in their faces. And Soigetsu, he knows this one's looking pretty hopeless. Not too many ways of finding his way back into this now with only about 35 seconds still left to play. And 3 members of Heretics bearing down on him sat on the site.
So much still to do. No utility to play, but the Mixo is going to close things out with a quad kill. What a round from him. As said, a pop flash leaving so many players blind. Zipan looking like he was about to have the multi-frag of the century. In fact, last map, I think he would have hit it every single time. And then Mixwell just making that decision. And then not today. Not today.
It's one of those, they've got so much more work to do, it feels like. I mean, for Na'Vi, again, it could not look more different as a story compared to what we saw back on that first map. Still, so much to do.
And now we're going to actually throw things over to another interview. I believe we're very lucky today that we have got Meg's boyfriend.
Honestly, Tom, you hit the nail on the head. We are definitely very lucky. We have So Marcus, the boyfriend of Meg, sounds like Egg, a Na'Vi content creator. I gotta say, you're looking like a certain agent in the game. Is this on purpose? Did you come cosplayed as Gecko?
Yeah, so I definitely did cosplay as Gecko, and I kind of wish that I came with my green hair today.
Oh.
But I thought, like, if I'm gonna have the shaved head, I might as well rock it for like a year or 2.
I like it. You'll be back tomorrow anyway, so maybe we'll see the cosplay tomorrow. Now, you are a notorious Reyna enjoyer. You play a lot of Reyna, a duelist in ranked. Now, your team Na'Vi right now, they're not running a duelist at all, and they have CNED. What do you make of this comp?
I mean, CNED as a duelist, right? Everyone knows him as a duelist. But I feel like Na'Vi, their strats, they can play whatever they want. I think it comes down to the actual calls themselves, right? And I feel like the experience they have on that team, especially with Angel, I don't think it matters too much that CNED's not on a duelist. Obviously, everyone likes to see CNED on Jet, but you know, allow his omen. Allow his omen.
Maybe even Reyna one day. Who knows?
I
You can pray. You can pray.
I'm the sick man, maybe.
I mean, you mentioned Angel there. I know you spend a little bit of time with him as well. Talk me through what's he like as a leader, as a person.
I mean, Angel as a person is fantastic. Like, we literally were playing table tennis earlier on, and talking about Valorant while playing table tennis, it's difficult, like very difficult, but it gave me so much insight into the brain of Angel, right? Not only is he a nice guy, but when we saw that first game on Pearl, you saw some of those strats, like you saw how much they abused A, and it's just things like that, and his being a veteran, obviously, is, I think, a big advantage for any team.
Well, if there's anyone going to bring it back in this map, it's probably going to be Angel, and I'm going to throw this back to your cast as I believe Mitchman's duo.
You cast with Mitchman as well?
Really?
Well, we're Mitchman's duo, like both of us, so...
The Step Bros.
I really don't want to keep
I don't know
that
why
going.
she started. The thing is, she said it, I think, 3 times so far this broadcast. It's killing me.
Yeah,
I won't quote the
do
infamous line.
Do you like bunk beds? That's the real question.
So much room for activities.
Exactly. Well, here we go. This is what we need to see from Na'Vi. What have they got over on this attacking side? They brought it back last time around when playing versus Koi, but this is looking like a very different story. Of course, having the Neon over on that defensive side, a lot of the time has had its issues. A lot of teams not finding ways to work it. I'm more interested, though, in the fact that Over has already pushed all the way through C.
Okay, I mean, trying to make this one work out. The question is it coming on the backside of it all as well, or do Na'Vi get side control in time? You know, we saw on the defensive side they had no mollies, no real ability to slow down the attackers of Heretics, but on the attacking side, they have things like Xiao, as we mentioned earlier on, the ability to do a good bit of work on this Sova. I really want to see them put this comp to good use. They've picked it for this reason. If it's going to shine, it's got to be early in this second half.
Yeah, well, it's got to be early or it won't be at all. They'll be running out of rounds to play with. Zeke only going to be able to find one, and the problem is with these deep players, they have to clear this. Oh, an interesting peek from CNED. Maybe a little bit over-aggressive. And Boo just gifted a kill. This was looking like a done deal for Na'Vi. Now, player already on the spike. They're not reacting to this at all. In fact, he's just going to stick it all the way. This is the Avova special, but he just goes down at the last second. They managed to deny. It was looking looking like another round where he was just going to defuse in front of the eyes of the opponents. He's been doing this for years, but finally someone stopped him.
A famous saying we have elsewhere, Tom, pros don't fake. They hold the whole way through, and he almost looked like he got it. If not for the right click coming out to deny it and put him in the dirt as well. Whew, I mean, we saw Navira with a pretty crazy right click last week, but this one, not quite up to standard, but still enough to ensure they had the round going. So, with how things are squaring out this way, it's a good but shaky start for Navi is the only way I can describe it. Didn't also clock, by the way. Wasn't even the right click that got the kill. It didn't help, but didn't get the kill.
I don't know what he's got his binds to. Maybe he shoots with right click.
Tom, shut up.
Hey, there's been weirder things. There's been weirder things done by professional players, that's for sure. I'm sure there's still some pros that play with inverted mouse. And we call those people wrong-uns. Okay, old. That works too. They're used to playing, what, flight simulators,
I
maybe?
guess, yeah. Given that was all that was around about 30 years ago. 34 years ago.
I don't think we have anybody from 40 years ago. So
No. No. Not on the pro circuit.
But now at least, I don't think Avova's going to get anything with that aggressive position. And of course, this is such a minute investment. There's not really any expectation here. A shorty available for Mixor. I don't know how he's going to manage to make this one work. Unless someone gets very overzealous.
Sometimes you just need a little bit of inspiration. And I'm not really convinced he's going to find it here. He's going to back away instead. Like, yep, I saw that range. I'm not invested with the shorty in hand. So away he backs, and by the looks of it, unless he's going for a big rotate off the bats, he is. Yeah, he's trying to go close on the side. So
worst case, he dies to the spike.
Exactly, yeah. That's what he wants to look for here. If he really going to donate away too many more ult points, yes, they absolutely do. Both members of Heretics falling, and Navi, 2 rounds on the bounce.
This is where things get that little bit more difficult. Of course, the bonus round play from Navi, as always. Few rifles bought in, 2 more will be bought up in this round. So they're at least going to play it like a 4-buy. Works out nicely for them because they can't afford to just give up a free round over to the side of Heretics. And Heretics have looked incredibly clean so far. Logitech G-Power round, actually a fairly important one for Navi. If this comeback is going to be possible, they need one hell of a streak of rounds. And I also feel like they need to crush the confidence of Heretics while doing it.
It's almost like looking like a bit of an inverse because we did see the kind of like big buy coming out from Navi back in the first half, and then ultimately lost and spent a couple more rounds really, you know, falling apart. They took the time out after 4 rounds to try and stage a recovery. And even that didn't work as they then went on to go and lose the 5th. So Heretics, be mindful of them falling maybe the same way as CNET goes in deep. Who needs Kellogg's in this case still make these aggressive plays work, because so far Navi are marching on their way through a 4v3 with the spike going down as the paranoia comes on through and they're forced to back away.
Yeah, they've taken so much control. This was the one foothold that was there for the side of Heretics, was at least keeping the room next to Broken Door. Come on now. 3 players looking to try and retake, and I don't even know if they are trying to retake. Kellogg's is all the way back towards that attacker spawn. I think they're just going to hold on to their weapons here.
They just want to catch exits maybe and try and capitalize off Navi trying to get off sight and away from the spike. Not a terrible idea, but a couple have now bats all the way away. You see pings coming in towards A as well on that expectation. But Navi going to work their way out as a 4 here. Smart play too in case a trade is required. Get themselves away to safety by the looks of it. And that'll be that round done. Navi up to 5.
Still an incredibly long road to go, but if I've learned anything from watching Navi play,
Listen up.
is that no scoreline is too large for them to turn this around. Bear in mind that we've seen them have very dominant halves of this map, although when they played against Koi, a lot of it was down to that defensive side, so it would be a completely different ballpark for them to now do it on the attack. The thing is, though, Heretics, they did save a few rifles into the last round. It's going to leave them with some vulnerabilities on Zeke and Boo, but the rest can still try to make something of this one.
Again, really looking at how it's stacked up everything between the agent comps. That's where you saw the damage being done in that first half, though Navi just felt like a little bit of a mismatch, whereas here, at least, managing to make things work, seeking out ground with the use of the Sova to march their way forward and get control of the orb, which they'll collect, and then back themselves away by the looks of things.
Yeah, just clearing that initial control.
There's no one A, by the way.
Trying to put doubts in the minds of Heretics, and, well, as you mentioned, it's worked. But with that flash going over the top, coming out from Zeke, it actually gives them the information that, okay, there's nobody outside of C right now. They're going to push up with the remaining couple of players. They've spotted no one outside of B. They now know this is an A hit. Can they get there in time?
And what can they do about it as well, with more of the smokes coming on 3, maybe trying to bait out a B hit, but it feels like Heretics are a little bit too wise here. They know what's coming. And Navi, I feel, have just been a little bit slow. They're taking so much time to figure out what's going on, despite seeing no utility coming towards them. Nothing to suggest information is there and ready to be collected. But Angel marches on in, finds one for himself, seeking to a trade of over there too. And it looked like a bit of a crossfire on towards Navi, but they're coming away with as many of the kills as they can possibly collect. A 3 versus 2, and now just Boo and Mixwell to push it off the flank. And this could work out. They don't even know they're here, I think.
Wallbang is all they can really go for. Mixwell's going to get it.
Down A.
20 seconds now. The pressure back onto Na'Vi. If they get it into an afterplant, it's a completely different story. They're going to have to reposition the spike, and in the meantime, we've seen a rotation coming through from the heavens. Boo not with the best gun, but at this range it's possible. However, Mixwell again is going to need a clutch.
Seen it with that shutdown finally walling into things. Had a really rough first half, and there he is closing out a second. Na'Vi, it looked real ropey when they were down 10-2, but they're halfway up the mountain at this point, Tom.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think Heretics round there was actually very good. Like the flash, we saw this on Pearl as well. Zeke, a lot of the time on their defensive sides, is the man who has to get them the information. Pops a flash over the top, finds out there's no one C, they push C and B at the same time, they get that gamble rotation. The only problem was the flank was too slow. If the flank comes through 2-3 seconds before, they probably win that round. But for a round where they had some weaker weaponry, it's not bad. Now they're going to give the coach, Neil Zenio, a chance to try and find that gap, because we've already seen one half of Valorant where they get absolutely stomped when it comes to their defensive side. They want to stop it early.
And not forgetting that we had Na'Vi use both of their tactical timeouts in the first half, so they probably also welcoming the short break for themselves here too. But equally, they were the ones on a roll. The momentum very clearly in their favor for Heretics. That big question comes in, okay, how do we slow this down? It comes in at exactly the same time as it did for Na'Vi too. After 4 rounds, that's when they feel they've seen enough, because that 5th round was the full buy round coming back the other side. Assuming they played it out in a similar way here, but you also are going to see a full buy, I imagine, coming out of the defenders. For the most part, yes, we are. They've got to win this round, or once again, economy's back in the gutter.
Yeah, I always think that one of the goals for Heretics earlier in the game should be Kellogg's on and op. Like, the difference he made, even on Pearl, where they got smashed, was huge. Like, he is someone who can just open up rounds for them and completely change things. Now, it's not something that's on the board once again. In fact, he's one of the highest spenders when it comes to this defensive side, it seems, in bonus rounds. And maybe there's a reason behind that. He's looking to try and take some of that early control, but with the Cascade already somewhat pushing him back, he has to be a little bit careful. He seems like he's somewhat in no man's land with some of his teammates already sectioned off.
See, I like that at least they're trying to make this early aggression on towards Na'Vi and slow them down. That was missing a little bit in those first 4 rounds. And we touched on the near a game start, you know, the speed and the ability to support and work together there. You had a triangle of 3, all pushing aggressively in towards A main. It feels like it's done its job in deterring Na'Vi away. The problem is, they've already had Kellogg's rotate straight over, so it's still the same player over here forming once again a unit of 3 to contest into them.
Snakebite will delay. As you mentioned, having that extra control could be huge. And with Seekers being popped, the early rotation's actually going to tell them, okay, they are still going in the direction of the C site. I'm more so looking at that Reckoning, though, from Angel. This being thrown into C could cause some major issues for the players on the other side.
For the timeout as well. They have one coming in through Exploring towards the Omen. They saw it and they followed it. So they know now that the full hit is coming in towards C. You can see a potential flank coming in, but that means really the attackers need to go quickly. They push it over the utility. Kellogg's had a beautiful chance at a 2 or a 3, but found absolutely nothing. A 5v4 for Na'Vi as they push in deep here. It's a bit of a trade coming in on towards the backside, but Na'Vi once again have full control, and Zeke on the flank towards Bound is all by himself.
First goes his way. Zipan tagged. A hell of a lot to do, but some lower players on the other side, and anybody giving him an angle could definitely risk this round, but you can see how passive the remainder are being. Just looking to watch on the cross. Counter flashes being thrown in, the angle being watched as well, and every single time he goes to the peak, he's chipped away. Elevated angle from Angel as well. The climb continues 7-10, and Na'Vi, even hitting late, managed to make things work.
Ooh. I mean, we spoke about the longest map so far here in EMEA being a Navi map. Back in week 1, 20 to 18 it went. With how this one's gone, it only takes a round or two, and Heretics are kind of in the conversation, but exactly the same as we saw back in the first half. We have the round 4 timeout, we roll into round 5, and they still lose the round. This is where things get ropey for a few rounds, because their economy, once again, is in absolute tatters.
Yeah, I think a lot of what was good there from Navi was their play off the record. Not allowing that to be the only piece of utility. A lot of players are looking to try and dodge that util, so they throw out a dart to scan up everybody, and then have flashes in as well to just leave those players in horrible, horrible positions. Now though, well, at least in the early stages of the round, they're just farming up those ultimate orbs, trying to deny that from going into enemy hands. Obviously, a lot of them are placed favorably for the attackers. And on the Heretic side, well, in a round like this, the only thing you can really do is be proactive. Flash, dodge, first shot clean, but keloqz is going to be able to get the trade.
Fair to say he's having a really good game so far on the Neon as well. I know we've mentioned it several times over, but he's really making his impact felt when he can get pretty quickly. As you know, up towards tree, Evova's there ready and waiting. Great paranoia coming across, should turn him at least slightly, but no! Soy gets him on the crouch, finds Evova.
This is left down to the one rifle. Boo managed to retrieve it. I don't even know if they know that he's here. And he's actually been helped out a little bit by the utility of an opponent. Quick headshot leaves Xiao alone. And the steps are going to be heard by Mixwell. The sprint in towards the other side of the map. Now, an afterplant here for Xiao could be huge because of that Hunter's Fury in a post-plant. Definitely tougher versus 2, but he's going to want to try and isolate a fight.
That's exactly it. He needs to force out a 1v1 here, so needs to move aggressively. Try and find at least one player out, but they've made the perfect call. Mixwell, keloqz stack up together, looking for that trade and seeking out their prey. But for now, Xiao's backed away in towards spawn. They'll have a good inkling that he's pushing towards backside here, out towards spawn side. But I think, like you said, Tom, that Hunter's Fury being online, that's what he's looking towards.
He's still got a full belt of utility. Shock darts as well, and they're looking completely the wrong way. And now that's all he needs. Just fall all the way back, throw in that utility. Hunter's Fury. keloqz needs to get this to half, and well, he's going to manage to dodge it. Now the time is kind of going to be everything. It's going to have to be the sprint back. I think he's got this one. He's just going to defuse it in front of him. Xiao was just too far away. keloqz plays that to perfection, and Heretics have their 11th.
Man's got absolute happy feet. Maybe it's not quite in the fashion they wanted to win, but you take any point on the board because one more means they guarantee at least overtime, if not the momentum to push on to the win. Massive play by keloqz, who now has that ultimate online.
Yeah, I think just Xiao.
Look at this.
Xiao's reliance on it
here, just back and forth, baiting him out time and time again.
It's also the read, just to tap it once so that he would use that last burst of the Hunter's Fury. Already, that shock dart was for Zeke. That's so disgusting. They see the Tiger going through, so they try and shock dart him, and Seedhead almost catches them on the escape.
Wanted to come back and bite with a little bit of fury here as well. Really remind Heretics that they're the ones that have been behind in this second half. A couple of ults online, let's not forget as well. They have the lockdown here, they dropped us in the right corner. This forces absolutely everything away. Another shock dart connects. It's looking rough to be Zeke in this round, but still not looking too unhealthy.
Yeah, both teams have a lockdown. I think that there might be an instant counter coming out from Boo. Yeah, just making sure that, okay, you've got a lockdown, I've got a lockdown, we don't really care. You can have that extra little bit of space. We'll give it up. And well, one player detained, but it doesn't really matter. Nothing that can be done from the side of Na'Vi and basically forced back to their spawn.
I mean, here looks like a hard hit towards B coming in. Out comes the wall, in comes the push by the looks of it, but immediately smoked out. Not much that can be done. If they're trying to go deep, they've got the idea because flashes are coming through. Seeker's on the follow-on through as well. Angel for a second was looking to go in for a challenge, but was backed away at the last second. And now they've got this side control. It's a big fight back for Heretics.
Zipan doing well to delay them. Drone going to be sent in as well, just using this utility all in post to try and hold them back as long as possible. I wonder if keloqz might even think of using the overdrive here just to try and take that little bit of extra space. The problem is they've been fighting forward, and once again with Mixwell falling, that's some extra space that can be held by Na'Vi.
Well, as the wall drops down, this is where the chaos really begins too. By the looks of it though, Heretics are saying, yeah, we'll leave this one. We need these guns. We cannot afford to see this utility broke. This economy broke. We are so close here that we don't mind giving up at least the one round.
Yeah, good response. Angel, well, actually going to go down to the spike, and so will Xiao, but financially it doesn't really affect them too much, wanting to try and hunt down some of those remaining weapons. And again, the same credit we gave to Heretics, we have to give from Na'Vi just a good mid-round call to take back that B site. And with the fact that they hadn't used most of their utility, it was just too much for Heretics to get back in. Like, you're facing against constant flashes, drones, shock darts, just not given enough space to find anything. But I like the fact that they're willing to just back out and go, okay, we need to make sure that we have weaponry for the next round. Let's not risk it all here.
I think both teams, you say there as well, the credit that you gave to them there, I think I absolutely agree with. You know, we commended earlier on when on the attack inside, Heretics attacked in towards C, backed out towards A, then came in through Baby Door towards B. It wasn't quite the full same long-winded journey that we just saw Na'Vi take, but it was that re-hit into an unexpected site from an unexpected angle that ultimately gave them the control they were looking for. 3 rounds still to go, though, for them to even catch up to Heretics, let alone look to try and beat them.
Yeah, it is feeling that a little bit too close now. Look at this push, though. Nobody watching that flank, at least initially. Very fast to get in on the rotation, but it's these entries in. Boo needs to get something that little bit more. It sounds harsh, but he needed to try and slow them down. Successfully, it seems that they now have a man advantage, and Angel goes back for more, leaving Xiao once again 1v2.
Oh, we've been here before, haven't we? Bit of work to do here. Last time around, Kellogg's pulled the rug out from underneath him and made it uncomfortable. Flash coming in from Zeke, doesn't quite connect. Still has the gun up. But where does the push come in? No one yet rotating over towards Door, and in fact, they're stacking up together here. What he's got to try and do is isolate this into a couple of separate fights. Another one at close range as well. Bolt gets taken away. He's going to have to try and push on through here. Kellogg's for a second trying to bait out the defuse too. Nothing to come of it, and sure enough, Kellogg's once again wins out against Xiao. They're moving up to 12, and it feels like map 3 is all but upon us.
Yeah, these close rounds from Heretics, but they're managing to grind them through, and I like the pace change. Like, we see Na'Vi, a much more direct take, and that flank coming through from the side of Heretics was sublime. Like, 3-man stacking outside C, wanting to try and maybe fight them early on the Na'Vi side. Instead, Na'Vi had the idea of a faster A take, and it ends up biting them. And I have to give credit to Boo. Only having a pistol coming out with a kill and just surviving those extra few seconds is enough that the players get caught by the flank. A big play from him. Now just 1 round away, and 4 in a row needed once again for Na'Vi.
Just when it felt like maybe they were starting to pull things back their way, it suddenly slipped away from them very quickly with Heretics. You know, I say Heretics, Kellogg's has been the difference maker. 2 rounds now, where he's won out that 1v1 against Xiao. 1 requiring a kill, 1 absolutely not, but still putting the 2 points on the board that his team so sorely needs.
Again, they're going to go for the same aggression. Paranoia. CNED has just been blitzed. 3 players pushing him. And while the Seekers are going to spot the majority outside this side of the map, and Heretics, they fall off. They don't overheat, they don't overface, but they put the fear of God into the hearts of Na'Vi.
I just like that composure as well. You find that entry kill, you know they're the ones who now, as in Na'Vi this is, have to figure out how to make things work with just 4 coming up against 5. Let them sweat a little bit, don't go over greedy and try and turn this into a 4 versus 4 an accident. You know, I just like that they're seeing the bit of composure they've got. Loads of util stacked up here around the A site, and by the looks of it, Na'Vi are running straight into the trap coming out of this other side. You got the swarm ready to go off as well. There it goes. His door also spins. Dog coming on through, and Mixwell going to hold tight at least for now.
Yeah, he's got Viper's Pit available.
Reckoning
Might just opt to use it to try and slow them down. Reckoning will give the info. Kellogg's just tries to go through the smoke. He's been insta-headshotted. 30 seconds, and Boo finds a big kill, but they're going the other way. Once again, these mid-round calls, but they've left Xiao behind. He's going to sit in this corner, just waiting for them to cross. A free kill on the first, and Xiao is going to get both, leaving him over to try and clutch this 1v3.
A 1v3 for himself. Oh, do not envy him being in this position, and sure enough, he won't even find it. Great response by Na'Vi, and especially Angel, to the aggression coming out of Kellogg's. It feels that Kellogg's this is at the center of every conversation at the minute in this game, not because of the kills that he's finding, but because of how disruptive he can be to Na'Vi, and their success spins on that dime of, do we control his aggression, or do we fall down to it?
Yeah, a huge round for them to take, of course. Angel actually statistically having a very, very good game. Like, I think especially going on to this attacking side, there's a lot of sort of cool things that you can run with the Harbor for sort of sectioning off map control. It's something I enjoy watching. I definitely think defensively they might have to go back to the drawing board, but that's something that Na'Vi do on almost a weekly basis.
So it seems with the constant change in agents they bring to the field, the different lineups they're experimenting. We mentioned earlier on, normally it's Gecko here, but this time around it's Sova coming out for Xiao as a little bit of an alternative. Can't say we've strictly felt his presence 100% of the time, seen a couple of nice shot darts come through. the recon bolts expectedly normally being dealt with, but where I suppose there's a little bit of help being given is from these owl drones coming on through. I know it feels like a very minor detail, but being able to spot a lurking Kelox waiting to go aggressive and sprint into your face. Those owl drones do force players back when they get scouted out by them. It's an easy bang through the wall, though, as down goes Avova.
He needed help from his step bro to get out of that one, let's be honest.
Very good. I thought you said we weren't encouraging this. What have you done, Yinsu? What have you done?
Why not? Why not? Again, late rotation back, but look at the read. Defenders are on it. Straight into the site. Mixor's already there. Of course, he doesn't have a lot to play with. Like, the expectation here is low, but he can buy them a little bit of extra time. Mixor completely blind in the corner. In fact, they're going to go running into the snake bite, made vulnerable by it. A chance, but just off the time alone, this is starting to get very awkward. Trades back again into a 2 versus 2. Real potential here. And are they really going to go back towards the B site this late in the round? If they were caught for even a second, there was a chance for this to go off the time.
I just can't help but ignore that once again, it's Xiao and Kelox stuck in one of these situations. Kelox has had his number every single time. Xiao this time round finds him, but it's a 1 versus 1. 2 completely fresh players enter the arena. Who wins it out? It's Boo to close it down. Map 3 to decide which way this series goes.
Well, I have to say expectations going into this map were low. After the first one, I was maybe expecting another blitz to come through, but Heretics not only have steadied themselves, they have come back with a vengeance, taking a map off of Na'Vi and now heading into this third and final with a genuine chance of winning this series. We spoke about this team as, okay, they've beaten Carmine Corp, but many have put them right near the bottom of the ball. But right now they are challenging versus one of the best, and, well, it's a coin toss at this point as we head into the final.
And doing it in style, I know we touched on it several times, but the Asian select, there was just nothing to hinder Kelox, right? Again, we spoke about no real mollies. Sure, you had a harbor wall. That's not really going to stop a Neon just blitzing her way through. Just excellent selection, I feel, both in the agent draft, but also the way they played that map. Showing real mastery, and you can see exactly why it was their pick, which means we have one more map still waiting for us, Tom.
Yeah, who knows what we're going to get from this one, but luckily, that's our job. We don't have to do that. There's an analyst there, so we're going to chuck this off to a break, and then they're going to break all of this down while we're going to have a nap.
Nice! Come on! Nice! 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 Let's go! Yeah! Let's go! Nice! 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 Yeah! Let's go, Kelox! Nice!
Red Bull gives you wings.
Zero distraction. Zero doubt. Zero opposition.
What? What is this from EA? He is currently unstoppable. He is just a consistent demon. El Diablo.
Hey guys, it's EA. Welcome to my course on optimal Valorant training. I'm going to be demonstrating now some angle clearing. I'll slowly come around the corner as well, making sure no one's on these off angles.
What a response from Team Heretics. They break their lose streak here with a massive win on Lotus against Navi. I'm your host, Yingsu, and I'm back here with Kakuka and Zesh. You guys, you said a 15%, 85% to Navi, but how surprised are you that Heretics actually managed to close that out?
I give the 25. I'm good. I love the surprises. I knew that they were going to have a good starting half. On the side of Navi, I have to say that maybe after that first map was so easy on their minds, they were like, I bet that it was an angel moment of just rolling the dice, being like, how about we just roll it with this? Like,
let me play Harbor.
How about I play Harbor? And then everybody was like, yeah, this actually sounds good.
To say it in the word of Shaquille O'Neal, I honestly was not familiar with your game, and I'm sorry. And I'm genuinely sorry, because I was saying this is impossible. I was genuinely thinking Heretics has no chance. Not the slightest at all. Because also I thought Navi has a great composition. Sure, there's some duelists in there, but I was super happy about it. And then at the end of the day, to pick them up in a 39 fashion, I am kind of shook still.
Things that I loved about this map from Heretics, the fact that Kellogg's is going on that Neon.
Yeah.
We mentioned all the agents that he had played before. Neon was still not in that circle. It finally is. I think the only one left, the only duelist left for him to play would be Yoru, but we're saving that for when Lothar is here. And I really liked the performance for Boo. I saw a Heretics that was communicating so much better.
The issue is it nearly went badly. They nearly did not close that out. It looks good, 13-9 looks good, but if we take a look at one of the rounds that actually helped them push it over the line, if it was a while until they got to 12, when they switched sides. And I think some people maybe believe in the Navi comeback, but how many times did it have to come down to a 1v2, a 2v2?
It was definitely different to the first half, to put it that way. It looked like Navi definitely came back in that situation. We once more saw that Heretics was definitely struggling towards the end of that second half, when suddenly the momentum was not going their way. This is a perfect example where we see that they still can play it, as you mentioned, well communicated towards the end, till they have to defuse the spike. And I think that is the positive thing. We're talking about that it got very close to the end.
Kellogg's there.
Look at him.
He's doing the Jose Mourinho.
Yeah. I love the fact that in so many occasions, especially on the defense, we saw Kellogg's actually being the last man standing and one of the fewer last standing, because he was, covering a lot of the map, just putting a lot of pressure, and trying to go for the kill in the first instance, but always playing in those duo situations, especially in this one.
Yeah, we got some Kellogg's highlights as well, because what a delightful Neon map it was, Vincent. We were like, Jet or nothing, but there's something, Jet or Neon.
And you talked more about the second half. I was more impressed about his first half, particularly because it felt like he played such a crucial role in some of those executions. His stuns were so important towards some of the seaside plays we saw. He was moving so swiftly through the nano swarms, and he was definitely a decisive factor when it mattered to get onto the side. This particularly showed his intelligence in game. That was wonderful to see how he clutched that one out. Overall, this is the Kellogg's that I want to see on new agents. Whereas, because in the beginning we talked about Phoenix.
He did it more than once.
Yeah,
I didn't even
he's the Jose Mourinho.
He's saying, shut up, the Spanish casters are speaking. No, but I love the fact that we could see a Kellogg's that was playing for Team Heretics without Team Heretics 100% dependent on him. Like, I don't feel like he was playing with that extra weight on his shoulders that he had to perform. It was that or nothing, and him against the world. I saw the rest of the team playing alongside with him, and him being much, much more comfortable.
Yeah, and also in the first half, I know you mentioned it already, Vincent, but Navi, again, maybe they had an opportunity to come back in, but at the very end of that, Kakuka, I know a round you want to speak about. Heretics, they close it out.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's very funny, because if you take a look at the positions of many teams at the beginning of the Lotus attack, you're going to see that the heatmaps show that some teams are really towards the C side and that early control of that zone. Some other teams, like for example Koi, are very centered in B, but it's mostly C, A. You would see clear patterns. And here, Team Heretics adapts to something that Navi was doing on the previous round. They go with this extra control over here, and they want to fight it. They know that it's something that they're going to repeat, because this is back-to-back to a timeout. And the fact that they can adapt and react so quickly to what Navi is doing is something that most teams cannot do against this squad.
And I think most importantly, this kind of proactive move that we're seeing from Navi here was something they have not been doing too often in the first part of that first half, which was disappointing for me, because they were respecting Heretics so much. But as you've just mentioned, perfectly reacted to that, as Navi said, you know what, we have to definitely go a little faster, pedal to the metal, have to aggress there onto the 8th site. But that was then being shut down so perfectly. The clutch here, again, was also one of those factors that nearly looked like it could have been working, but at the end of the day, today there's a few factors that just didn't work on this map at all for the side of Navi, and it was an Heretics that looked just so well-rounded, the one that we finally see evolve.
Yeah, I don't see Zeke still yet so comfortable on the sky, but I think that it's working towards a bigger purpose and a bigger meaning. I love the fact that Mixwell was feeling comfortable in Viper.
Well, I want to be on the Heretics hype train right now. I really, really, really want to be on it because it feels good. I saw Uli and Yuri, the Spanish casters, like celebrating. But as we go on to map 3, I just want to let you guys know about what Navi do when they are in a situation where they have to dig themselves out of a hole. Not counting best of 5s, ever since Masters Copenhagen, when they won the tournament, they have only ever lost a map 3 one time, and that was against Exit. They do not lose a map 3 if we have to go there. Even EMEA, we saw in the last couple of weeks when they did have to go to map 3, Kukuka, that's where they close it out, and that's where they get dangerous.
That's what I mean. I said it at the beginning of this post map, being like, I feel like this is Angel just being like, let's just try something out. And again, they were really down to changing those compositions last week when they played against BBL to just face off the kind of intentions that they're going to have. So now the question is, for Team Heretics, are they going to be the ones to break the curse and actually get a win against Navi, being the first team that is able to win against Navi after playing Fnatic? And also, is the Phoenix going to be back? Are they going to be the Navi that they expect?
What I will say is Heretics, we haven't seen them in map 3 yet, so we don't know what they're going to be like. Yeah.
But the crucial factor, you mentioned earlier when you had the conversation with Angel and the Spanish casters, right? You said that they were adapting to BBL's swiftness, to BBL's aggression. This is a bit of the opposite in my eyes when we talk about Heretics, because for example, they usually play that double controller kind of setup here.
Yes.
That is a totally different kind of set of pace, different kind of speed, different kind of aggression. And this is where we could technically, just technically saying, expect that 9th kind of composition. But to be honest, I like their OG Sage kind of style Ascent comp, and I wouldn't be surprised if they would run that again.
I mean, Vincent, twice we've seen Navi on this map so far. They've had 2 different comps, maybe 3rd week in a row we have another comp.
I wouldn't be surprised.
All I want to say is, going into this for Heretics, I don't want to see the Phoenix. Put it away. Don't bring that out. I don't care if it's a misclick or anything. No. No. Well, I don't want to see it.
Luckily for you, Kelos is going to be the first one picking.
If he chooses it, I'm leaving.
He gave you the jet. He gave you the jet.
Thank God.
Zipan is going to be going on that KO. Zenith on the jet, and Angel is on the oven.
So normal. This is too
okay,
normal.
so now the question is, Suigetsu, is it going to be? It's going to be the Cypher, not the Killjoy. It's not the Sage. And Mixwell swapping back from the sky, going onto that KO, and Zeke playing with that Sova, going to a very, very traditional composition.
And I think they just want to do this because the amount of information, particularly they garner with that cam, as well as the trap wire that usually has the opportunity to really hold up any kind of execution. Even if they go for deeper, this fits perfectly to it. This is a minor adjustment, but I think this is the right adjustment to the attacking side of the guys of Heretics.
I feel let down. Why is this so normal? It's too normal after what we've seen today.
But that's because they're tense. Like, Navi is like, okay, that happened on map 2. We need to close this out.
Well, no one is trolling, I see. And for Heretics, this will be an absolutely huge win and one they really, really, really need. Tom and Des, are you guys on the Heretics train?
I think we are, Tom. You can talk at this point.
Got time it. Time it for when they...
We don't know when it's going to spin to us.
Wow, wasn't that magical? I'm never doing that again.
Once is enough, I think.
I got my and spin. Like, that's not something I ever expected to hear our producer say.
Strange things heard down a microphone or down a headset. And spin. Yes, absolutely with you on that front. Look, we didn't expect to be going to map 3, but that's exactly where this series is headed. And truthfully, I think it's deserved it. We saw a brilliant agent adaptation coming out from Heretics in map 2. Map 1, Navi absolutely slapped them silly. We've seen domination for either team so far. This map, though, is where it all really matters. It is the decider. I can't really call what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'd say if you're going off historical data, Navi are definitely the better Ascent team. I think they're a very strong Ascent team now that they're not playing the Gecko comp anymore. I think they're always going to switch up some of the roles slightly, so I get to bringing in a Cypher rather than a Sage. It looked like the Sage was more a direct counter for BBL, who they played last time around. The thing is, though, the composition on the other side has also changed to something much more traditional, which I think is a good call from Heretics. They tried the cheeky Phoenix comp. It didn't work, so go back to the tried and true, which I am actually excited to see Mixor, for example, on the KO. I think it gives him a little bit more opportunity to go back to that almost duelist of old while still having a decent utility belt.
Let's wait and see what came out first there for at least a couple of seconds to see if there was any smokes being committed at, any flashes being burnt down towards A main. The answer indeed was no, so really just leaving him there all by himself. I think it's Avova now who's taken over that mantle of holding A main whilst the rest try and slowly work their way through tree here. And there is no utility to stop them on their march on through. This could get real messy. It's Angel to start things off, goes aggressive and finds one for himself, trying to dodge away. Almost found Mixwell, but he just about pulls it out, and keloqz stacks up 2. But it's a 3 versus 2 for Na'Vi, and they still have full heaven control.
Know that Mixor has managed to creep below, but with how much HP he has, it would have to be a pretty decent miracle in taking the first shot. I almost feel like he needed to hold a little bit longer, being spammed through the wall. 1 HP is all that's standing, and CNED is going to put him in the grave. A decent pistol round coming out of Na'Vi, and you can even see just the effect that those ratty little Cypher setups have in the early stages of this one.
I mean, really, I was about to say all the work was done by Angel, it felt at the start as well, just sowing absolute chaos in the back lines of the push coming in from Heretics. Ultimately came down to him and CNED in the close to make sure things really did stick to going the Na'Vi way. Good attempt though at Heretics, really liked the actual push coming out there as well. All 4 going via tree. No utility there from Na'Vi to slow them down. Sadly though, there was an Angel.
Yeah.
And his name was Death.
I think the thing I'm excited about as well, I mentioned Mixor on the other side. Xiao, there's not many people I would be overly happy to see playing Fade right now on this map. I think that there's so many benefits to having a Sova. But Xiao might just be the best Fade player in the world. Like, I think so effective on this agent with all the different haunt lineups that he knows, but also just his own ability to sort of get aggressive off the back of his own prowlers. Gives him that little bit of extra freedom to almost, again, just be a bit more of that sort of duelist Xiao when he needs to be. Now, this initial start coming out from Na'Vi is a very passive one. A little bit of aggression out from Zipan, just peeking in towards short. Other than that, they are sat back, holding for any sort of push.
And hold for a little longer, they may well have to. Utility about to start raining through. You can see the line of powder Zeke as well, and there it is. Everything over. Flash is coming over. Recon over. Smoke going deep. You name it, the list keeps on going, but they haven't yet pushed their way forward. Almost expecting something else to come out of it, and there we go. Now they're working their way down Speedway and in towards site. Full site control established, and now you get this real awkward kind of midpoint war either side of the boathouse here to re-establish control.
Yeah, the problem here for Heretics is they just have no guns. So, like, fighting into this one should be very difficult. Nice pop flash, but ultimately every single one of these battles is heavily favored. It just comes down to how much damage can realistically be done. Both players so desperately low. Boo's flank gets nothing, and Xiao is just quickly cleaning up every single remaining player. Barely any damage in the end done to Na'Vi, but they get themselves a plant and a kill. And when all you've got is Classic, that's okay.
Even Xiao switching over to the Classic at the end of the round there as well, dropping away from the Guardian. Good round from Na'Vi once again as expected. This is where it's really going to count though. This is where Heretics get to get their 4-buy, and we get that Logitech power round coming in. Let's see how things shake up.
Don't forget the G.
All right, Logitech G. Power up round.
There you go. You got there.
Any more letters in there?
I'll forgive you just this time. Well, they, you know what, to be fair, it is very small. Like, they couldn't have made it like bigger for you, right? Just
Tom.
Maybe the whole screen next time?
Tom. Shut up. You are so dry and sarcastic. I love it. Well, hate it in equal measure. I think I like it more when you're bullying Mitch with it rather than me.
Yeah. I've heard that before.
All right, then. Looks to be another A main battle coming out for Heretics. Last time around, let's not forget, they dropped away and left Avova here by himself and rotated everyone off around towards Tree, which I think is why you can see on the other side, the KO of Zipan is stuck waiting around Garden, just looking in towards Tree, expecting that push to come in, whereas Heretics have changed things up a little bit. At least maybe. 3 of them for now holding it, and the Sova deliberating on where this push should come through.
Of course, they've got to be careful with the knife of Zipan. Not going to be a massive amount away. You can already see Mixor's looking to come back online. If this knife goes through, all utility will dissipate, but the same can be said from the other side. A little bit of info to be had, and a nice entry onto CNED. It garners them the entirety of the A site.
Absolutely, at least getting one back on that side. It's Angel bringing down Zeke, so that's Sova, the difference maker in some way, being offline too. And Kellogg's caught in between a rock and a hard place there. Gets domed down from below. Site control established, but the numbers of Heretics are dwindling. They're down to just 2 against 4. Zipan again re-establishing control, getting control of Tree, and flooding in towards the site. You know about Mixwell, he manages to find one before being traded, and the last one left standing is Boo. Turret now taken offline, has got to find a way to march his way forwards here. Has the right sort of idea, but nothing more to be said for it. So Getsu gets the closing kill. Shao going to get the defuse in, and up to Na'Vi 3-0 we go.
This is one of those rounds where you're looking at a Kellogg's as a hero or a villain. Like, you have him at that sort of aggressive position, and when he doesn't get anything and dies, the round just is a domino effect. Then you have the aggression to try and get them back into a 3 versus 3 and sort of have a favorable afterplant, and because of that, they just lose basically every single player on a reswing and end up in a 4 versus 2. Na'Vi didn't actually have to do too much in that retake because it was made very, very easy for them by overfaces from Heretics.
Absolutely, well that's 3 on the bounce. Let's not forget what we've seen across our last 2 maps as well has been 4 rounds, and then attack timeout comes in from the losing side. Just acknowledging things are falling away from them just a little bit too quick as now we start to move into these ultimate rounds. You can see a couple coming online for either side, mainly looking in towards Mixwell's ultimate here as well, but Shao also not too far away from his.
Yeah, I don't know if Heretics would want to throw anything in unless they're granted a freebie. And look at just the control that's already there for Na'Vi.
A couple of picks really to make this work, and even then that's a tall order.
Yeah, and they know where the push is coming. Like, look at where Na'Vi are right now. All the way up in mid, just waiting. And well, Vova's figured it out. Now, if they can actually put the pressure on here, they might be able to clear this quite easily. A wonderful flash. Angel actually having to just peek back out to almost make sure they don't lose too many members here. And this actually makes the round a bit more interesting. A 1-for-1 trade, and the gun very much retrievable.
Well, retrieved by Mixwell so far. Yeah, this is what I mean. And this is where the ult might now get to come online. But really, I think you want to find a second pick here to really get this round rolling because you're still running into the ult. In fact, it's come out a little bit earlier than maybe expected. Yeah, it's so gets to find one towards Kellogg. Shao a second. Maybe pulled out a little bit too soon on that one as Shao. And Soy Getsu, they mow everyone down. Heretics crumble, ult offline, rifle lost. Na'Vi up to 4-0. And there it is, that classic round 4 timeout.
Yeah, that it almost ends up being a bit of a burden on them. That one kill and picking up a rifle, it baits them into using that null command, thinking, okay, we can pressure the Cypher, we can get it onto the site. But Saigetsu, I think he pops the cages just before they're about to do that. So they basically still have to try and blitz through all of his utility, even though some of it is offline. And then you also have the cross held by Xiao as well. And as said, like, he's fearsome as ever when playing this agent, currently 7-0 in the server.
Just really not much being shown so far by Heretics. Maybe a couple of kills across the rounds that you look at and go, okay, something was building there, but largely Na'Vi have had the run of the server so far. Unsurprisingly, as mentioned, that timeout coming in at this point. Have we seen a round 5 converted yet after a timeout? I don't think we have. Across the maps, this is. I don't believe we have.
No.
You're shaking your head. You make me sound like an idiot when I'm speaking to myself.
I know, but
that's... You have to be able to say no.
No, but that's more fun. Just watch you scram a little bit, you know?
You mean when no one replies to what you're saying?
Yeah. It's really good. But the thing is, the difference between the two of us is I quite like the sound of my own voice. So getting back in, I'm actually looking forward to seeing what those sort of adaptations are going to be doing here from Heretics. Like what sort of ideas they're going to have, how they're looking to try and set up onto Kellogg's and continuing in on my solo cast. It looks like they're setting up in towards the A site. So 4 players currently there, Lurk obviously being held by Boo. But because CNED's got that operator, he's going to be looking for a little bit of control into mid.
Take flight.
You are too stubborn.
Yep.
Really wondered how long we go for there. That was your round to take. It's also maybe Kellogg's. Straight in already, dashing in off the back of this Jet. Looking to establish that site control that we know he loves to do oh so much. But has to make a kill off it. And makes it far too easy for Saigetsu by enlarging that target by a scale of about 10. Up in his face, shut down. Boo back onto the other side. But yet again, Na'Vi maintain the numbers advantage.
Oh, they want the spike. He's just picking up guns.
Throw it somewhere else, quick.
Skenny's been caught in a seize as well. Wallbang from CNED. As clean as ever. Will Avova ever get the spike back? Oh no! No! He's just been tapped through the smoke by Xiao.
On the last bullet as well. That's the real heartbreaker. And now Zeke, all he can do is look on, maybe shed a few tears. This round 5 is absolutely not going the way that Heretics would have hoped for.
Oh dear.
I love it.
I'd also love to see, just after this, how many pieces of utility Kellogg's got hit by him. I don't think Zeke was ever expecting an operator to kill him from behind. Not the classic weapon to flank from, but yeah, Kellogg's entry there, like, you might look at, okay, a Jet 1 and 5, but what he is currently having to deal with, like, he definitely got hit by Cypher utility. He definitely got hit by Xiao's utility. So he's just pinged up in the open by multiple pieces of util, dashing through it. And that's the sort of danger. And I'm pretty certain at this point that the gamble of the side of the map for Saigetsu has been perfect almost every single time. Like, you keep seeing Kellogg's having to sort of push in towards this. Look, he gets hit by a paranoia, pinged up, and then tagged. And then he reveals the rest of his teammates because of the neural theft. Like, he's just getting bullied.
There's just nothing you can do in that round. It's a real heartbreaker. Interestingly, a comment you and I had while we were talking about it when we came oh, not again. I mean, no breather this time around. It's more CNED who can't catch a break.
That's an op.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you a little bit aggressive. I was going to say that really we were speaking about this in the break between, you know, seeing what CNED had been up to. Obviously, he dies as I start talking about the point, but last map, didn't really see all that much of him when he was playing across on the Omen. Here, though, on the Jet, we are seeing him getting more involved in the game.
Yeah, of course. This is the agent which not only was he known for, but he was pretty much infamous for within the scene. One of the best Jets to ever do it.
Okay. I thought for a second, and maybe I was right, they've left it a little too late. They dropped down the Killjoy, but didn't have the spike on side, so they've had to grab it super late, which gives time by the looks of it for Navi to contest back in. Out comes the Fade Orb as well. It's a couple of kills for either side. Still down to a 3 versus 3. This is winnable for Heretics.
Yeah, the thing is they got caught in the trip. They got caught in the second trip as well. They're just walking into every piece of utility. Nice shot from Avova though. That operator in play, but Saigetsu just thriving. They even know that he's in that close corner. Avova desperately trying to find a pick, but bear in mind, he's got himself 20 seconds. Now he's gonna unfortunately get his From the Shadows on here. I can't imagine he's gonna try and teleport, and well, that not being given away, he's just trying to use the paranoia to reposition.
Just wants to isolate at least a 1 versus 1 here, playing on the up. Got to find his man. I think he's got no idea. I'm pretty sure he's on the low ground at this point. In behind the double stack, still can't find him. It's Xiao off towards Speedway to bring him down. It's going to be another round being won by Navi. It feels like it's in the back and forth throughout this series, so you have to wonder what comes in the second half.
Xiao still hasn't died.
That's a beast.
6 rounds in. Saigetsu's only died once as well. And the point I've been making is they've been pushing into his setup almost every single time.
Yeah.
Like, this is, again, they walk into both trips. Now, I'll be honest, the first one, I'm surprised anybody's walking into that. It's a very standard trip that you're going to see in matchmaking. And now, after basically walking into that setup every single time, Xiao is set up. They are all building into a take, and he has an Odin.
I love this. Normally you see a Soba playing this kind of spot, but it's a similar sort of story. Just sprays on through before getting scanned out, but by the looks of it, they have. I mean, Kellogg's, I love the aggressive taking here as well. If you know that an Odin is posted up at close range, go aggressive, but Xiao finds him first.
Yeah, none of the others actually made it out. It was just Kellogg's on his own. Everybody else just sitting in behind, and now Xiao's just got his machine gun back again.
Boo. Do they know? I mean, does Boo know? They don't seem to know that he's here. I lied as you haven't watched him on close right-hand side as well. Angel, I think, just dropping down a smoke there at the perfect time to let him get away with it. If he tries to
they're going
through,
back
he's dead.
into Saigetsu's setup again.
Oh my god.
Again.
A double trip setup
okay,
as well.
It's gone.
Okay.
It's gone.
Cleared out there thanks to the knife, but now they're on the march on through, playing nice and slow as Zeke finds Saigetsu on the march on through. Elsewhere, there's still a battle going down, but the real action is taking place here on side. CNED gets the call out. We saw a couple of those last week. It's 3 quick kills for Navi and a total wipeout as Zeke is left with all but 1 point of HP. Xiao gets the shutdown. Navi up 7-0.
He's just going to get rid of the Odin. I hate them. They've thrown it in for 1 round just to strike fear into the hearts of Heretics, just to adapt their setup once again. And now they're just going to go back to something more normal, just a standard setup so that he doesn't need to take the risks off the back of that weapon anymore. He got fully pressured in on the site, and he is still yet to die. 12-0. I know I'm going to sound like a broken record, but when a player is just staying alive at all costs, at all times, no matter the scenario, and that's the thing. Him doing that, being able to delay them, then push them back into Saigetsu's. It's whatever the lesser of evils is, but I can understand the frustration at the moment from NeoZenio, because it seems like no matter what decision they make, it's just the wrong one.
It's an exact flip again of what we saw back on the previous map, where 2 timeouts coming in insane inside half. I mean, 2 timeouts inside 7 rounds feels absolutely ludicrous.
It's needed, though.
It's sorely needed, because Heretics need to find a way into this game. You talked about them running into the util. With the way they were stacking up here before that timeout got called in, it was going to be the same story again. With a heavy stack out towards A, now they've dropped the Odin away. They just don't seem to be able to find any breathing room.
Yeah, and I think this is where I want to see some of their utility being committed to trying to destroy some of those trips. Like, I know it sounds like such an oversight at this point, but like the fact that they are catching them basically every round in some regard. Okay, the last one not so much, as they did manage to use the knife. The other thing as well is the amount of times where KO has actually hit Saigetsu and he still gets away with a multi-frag because he's pre-popping those cages before they're able to do it. Like, it's a great performance from him, but when you have a KO, if a Cypher is bullying you this hard, I'm a bit worried for your KO.
Bit of a friendly fashion on the way on the way through mid here up to market. First time we've seen a hit of this kind come through in this half, so I'm glad to see we're trying something a little bit different. But I can't ignore that a lot of their focus does appear to be off towards B, where we have, once again, the Cypher traps being set up.
I think they've obliterated them.
Yeah, they just nuked them out.
It's
I mean,
actually...
you said use abilities to clear them out. That's kind of going a little bit beyond.
Honestly, I'm okay with it. Like, with the amount of impact that Saigetsu's managed to have. The problem, though, is, again, they get the man advantage early, and already it goes back the other way. Now, this time around, as said, there is no utility other than a singular cam available for Saigetsu. But he has support coming through. Nice shock to at least do a little bit of extra damage. I'm more so looking at that paranoia and this flank coming in.
Oh, I mean, Zipan was in a spot to be able to capitalize, but no, it's Angel to start. Chasing up the backside, the spike's going to go down here as well. Is he ready and waiting? Yes, he is. Easy round wing close out once again. Navi just putting Heretics in a chokehold and giving them no room. The Penguin, I think, expressing how many of us feel at the moment.
That was mean.
It's brutal.
This second shot coming out was just disgusting. This was nice. What? Like, how long has he been sort of hitting the aim line? Like, even Angel knows, it's like, I shouldn't be hitting those shots. 8-0. Absolute decimation of Heretics, and they're just running it down. Go for it. Pick up the pace. Try and put pressure in. There's a trip. He's gone over it, but it doesn't even matter. Xiao's picked him out of the sky. Boo, however, has done well, though. He's made this one competitive. It's awkward for Xiao, but he's still standing. Who's surprised?
I feel like it's such a good read, and CNED's going to pick him off a fun here. Pops the ult out as well.
Xiao died.
Absolutely disgusting. Oh no, Xiao went down. How will they ever recover? CNED's making it look easy.
Let's get these
well,
beats.
he's 14-2 now. His KD has taken a rapid hit, only 7. Like, come on. We expected better of you, Xiao. But yeah, it hasn't taken the wind out of the sails of this Navi side at all. 9-0. Ults coming online, lockdown available for Boo, potentially can finally grant them access to a site. And well, over the last few rounds, even just getting the spike down, they've managed it once of the last 6.
Surely it's their chance here to make this work. They sorely need to get it online. What I love as well, just kind of worth noticing, I know we've talked about it an awful lot, but the Cypher pick, I feel like across the whole series, we've seen a really good evolution of picks. You know, coming into map 2, Heretics acknowledged they needed more speed, and they really beat out the Sova on the other side. This map, they've shut down Kellogg's aggression by playing the Cypher. They just read into it so well.
Yeah, they've double ulted, so his util is offline, at least for the next few seconds. One player detained as well, but Saigetsu is still in this corner. They're hunting him down. Taking some damage from the fragment, but he's still surviving in these backlines. They have not cleared him.
They have no clue, and as soon as the smoke goes down, it's going to be hell to pay. Sure enough, in fact, no, you even got to get involved, because on top is where the death comes from. And now Sagetsu can strike. Finds one for himself. Pinged up on the other side of Jen here. And Abova, he knows that his days are numbered if he's not too careful. Has a little bit of support coming in from Zeke. Down to a 2v2. Shao will not be stopped. And no, I say that, yes he will. Abova finally helping Heretics get on the board.
Honestly, like, I wouldn't even blame Mixer at this point if he had punched a hole in the desk. The fact that his teammate runs around underneath Bauk and just doesn't clear the angle properly, I thought that was round over. I thought that was it. The fact that Sagetsu managed to just sit in this corner. The thing is, though, again, this is a round that is completely not recreatable. Like, you're not going to be able to use a lockdown no command to get yourself back into the site. So this has to be a building block of something where Heretics now find some individual prowess, because you bet there's a buy coming up here.
They've got maybe a scan coming in. In fact, no,
They
blocked
know
out
he's
as well.
there.
They know that he's there because the smoke. Where else could he possibly be at this time? Wants to try and get himself away, and will do so just up towards Pete.
He
So
didn't take any damage.
Just manages to escape.
That's actually mind-blowing. He took 0 damage. Angel set up as well with the paranoia, ready for contact. Has support as well. They can go for the double flash. And well, all utility disabled for those players. Not worth the risk without any form of pop flash.
They were all blinded out a second. The thing is, as soon as this starts winding down, they know they can push back in, almost losing out to the Pixel. For now, still taking things nice and slow. Heretics, as you said, trying to figure things out without those 2 key ultimates online.
They've got ults on the other
Ult
side.
to spawn.
What?
No.
He actually stuck it! There's no way he sticks that! And it gets away with it as well! Okay, it's only going to be the 1-for-1, but that's mind-blowing! The Vova actually got away with anything there. The thing is, they've used themselves the Nightfall on the other side, denying them sound
30
HP
seconds
for the
left.
moment, but they have found a fairly empty A site.
I think Navi aren't 100% sure where this hit is coming in, but they'll be aware very, very soon. Zipan will be the first one to make the call, I imagine. Looks down towards Garden, an easy tap onto the head of Zeke. But now he's got to choose his rotation angle. Does he push down towards Tree or double back in towards Heaven? Has to decide faster, so the spike is now down. They know he's here, surely.
They're all going to pressure.
No.
It's a brawl out on short.
No.
The battle for Tree is actually the main contest,
Oh,
and
Shao.
Shao is wiping them out. It's left Mixwell completely blinded. And what was one round off the clutch of one player will not last long. 10 double digits hit, and we're only in the first half.
Last round
Madness.
in the half.
11-1 feels like it's representative of how the half has gone, but Heretics know they want this back. This in itself, I've seen this being attempted so many times and fail so many times, and to get the op as well, you could not ask for a much better kill.
Yeah.
Unless it's Shao, because he got a free K in the round.
And now we start to look as well like Kellogg's has been having a nightmare. It seems like every time he's trying to make some sort of play into the site, he's just getting obliterated. 1-11. He can be the hero for this team at times, and unfortunately right now he is going to miss. Again, pressure put in, and a good start from Zeke. Operator down. Now this was a weaker buy from them, so getting that extra gun is huge.
Hunter's Fury online. Zeke collecting that ult up here may yet be a way to get them at least something in this final round, but my God, do they need it. 2 pistols on side, a couple of Guardians and a rifle. It's not a lot to go on.
Flash.
A little bit of utility being expended. It seems like Na'Vi have the right read here. 3 players, although facing into Boo. And now they all look to try and build up. Zipan is going to grant them only 1 player caught. The other 2 managed to fall back just in time, so this might sell a bit of a fake read.
Oh man. The close angle here could be everything. Finds one, swings in for the second, but Shao doesn't find his man. Straight away, Boo wants out of dodge, backing away. As on site, no way have they thrown it away here. Na'Vi coming out big. Down they go. It's 11-1 in this first half, and when we came into this map saying that we had no idea which way it's going, we didn't expect 11-1, Tom.
No, I expected it to be a good map for Na'Vi, but 11-1, I think if anybody was predicting that, it's a little bit of an oversight. And losing a round like this, I don't know, I think it's a nail in the coffin. Xiao has just been, he is 22-3. Like, you know, there's sometimes a cast where you go, I'm going to hype up this player, and maybe they'll do okay. They'll do all right. I have to say, I'm quite happy with my prediction of Xiao doing quite well on the Fade. 22-3.
You did say he is that guy. He's him.
Best Fade in the world. I don't know if it's necessarily been the Fade or just him as an individual.
It's both. It's both.
But he is literally more than double anyone else in the server in frags. And yeah, also has the least deaths. Joint least.
More than triple anyone on the other team as well.
Yeah, we don't want to go too far.
Let's bring out the maths, bring out the multiplication here as well. Because it has been absolute exorcism of Team Heretics so far. Maybe thanking themselves that they've got this short half-time break here to, I don't want to say reflect on that first half, but reset the mental and go again, because my God, are they going to need some ideas. But again, we touched on it a few times throughout the half. Just want to again commend how good the Asian picks have been at dealing with keloqz. And really, I think many teams will look at this and go, we know that keloqz likes to go aggressive. We saw it all of last week. We saw it all of week one. He likes to go deep. He likes to go in and really make call and cause chaos. Slow him down if you can using your utility, and you're in a good spot.
Yeah, I want to almost add to the pile. You can add 4 of their players together and you just about get Xiao. That's terrifying. But yeah, I think it's one of those thankless jobs being the Jet on this map. A lot of the time your goal is going to be to dash into the site. And the thing is, the setups here have been so good. Like, I think although we're sort of raving about Xiao, I think Saigetsu Cypher, they continuously swap his role. Like, we've seen him play a Viper on this map, we've seen him play Sage, and now we're seeing him play Cypher. And that's the thing, to have a player that is that versatile on 3 completely different agents in the way that you have to play them and make all of them look impeccable. Like, it means that, how do you counter that? You go, okay, I'm going to play this agent to counter his Cypher. Well, I've now lost to his Sage. Okay, I'll counter his Sage. Okay, I've lost to his Viper. Like, it makes it literally impossible to know what you're getting when you play this Na'Vi. And this is where you see the sort of mastery of this. Because ultimately, they came in hoping to be able to beat some of the other setups. Because obviously, as a coach, as a team, you're going to look into what Na'Vi are running before. They look lost playing against a Cypher.
I honestly think a lot of this probably comes down to the Jet being a bit of a kryptonite almost for Heretics on the map. For themselves, it's not working out the way they planned, but you look back to when Heretics played against Fnatic, Durka was the ultimate like utility baiter. Would dash into a smoke, draw a bunch of nades and flashes, and then back away and get out of dodge.
Speaking of that, it's looking like you might get that from CNED on this side, and Mom, they get this pistol, GG. Come back next week.
Try again next time. We all said really this is where Heretics had to start getting wins on the board as well, because I mean, being down where they are right now, 0-3, I believe, it's not quite the kind of situation
they got one.
They got one in the first week, didn't they?
They beat KC.
I mean, what does that tell you?
Oh, a little bit of a gap in the smoke. Doesn't look like it's going to do too much. A free site for them to plant on. Not something you really want to gift to Na'Vi, but you better hope that the retake's good. Boo is still on the other side of the map. Clearly still in doubt that there is somebody there that he has to deal with. It is taking ages for this rotation to come in.
At this point, since he's in a Demons, he knows this map has not been kind to them. Try to push forward, Cena's the first one to fall down as we see Heretics stack up and push quite deep in towards Speedway, but can they get all the way through without being stopped? Really, so Getsu was the one to stop them, but he couldn't quite do it. There's 2 left standing for Na'Vi though, and Evova's got to do it all. A 1v1, Evova clutches it out with a big 3K. Gives Heretics a little bit more hope to carry on to the next round.
Only 2 rounds have been won by Heretics. Both of them have been won by that man. He is still putting up rounds where they need it, clutching them a few moments. But again, it is more than a mountain at this point. Playing up against Na'Vi, now most teams you'd go, okay, they've had a strong defense, but that's their strongest side of the map. Most teams, the defense is where they truly thrive. Unfortunately, Na'Vi don't actually fit that bill. They're normally better on their attack. So I'm not going to be selling you any fairy tale story. If this comeback truly happens for Heretics, it might be the greatest comeback I've ever seen.
We were seeing almost one coming together on the last one, of course, for Na'Vi, but didn't quite commit. Cena just wide swings into keloqz there. Was expecting a little bit of a tighter angle, maybe to show a little bit of shoulder and bring him down, but absolutely not.
You're keloqz, right? You've had a bad game. You go, do you know what? I'm up against an eco. I'm going to buy a Marshall. They're not going to have shields. I'm going to farm up some kills. Miss the first shot, insta headshot, down in the dumps again. It is just a rough game for him.
Kryptonite. Something about this map.
Kryptonite is a sheriff bullet to the head. I think that's everyone's Kryptonite.
No, it's just a lot of bad luck seems to follow Jet around for these guys on this map. Again, whether against them or for them, it just seems to go the way they like. So, Na'Vi, they have that numbers advantage, control of mid, and all the options in the world before them. They can push up towards Market here and flank across in towards B, or just kind of go straight via tree in towards A. In fact, we saw this in an early round coming out of Heretics. Not forgetting the Heretics have the guns here. They can still hold on despite being a man down.
Oh, it's still starting to get a little bit shaky.
Sheriff's, man.
Yeah, Sheriff's looking just too clean. Zeke. Oh, he's going to go down as well. It just goes from bad to worse. Just call this one a day. There's no chance here. Boo. 1v4. This was the round that should have been easy.
Gun here.
Oh. I think the Spanish gases are still after. They know that this is all falling apart, as do we.
I hope it cuts back to them in Na'Vi gear.
Go the way of Kakuka. Does everyone donning a jacket by the end of it? We always supported Na'Vi. What are you on about?
What do you mean the Spanish stream supports Spanish casters? That doesn't make any sense. Well, this is as bleak as it gets if Boo is saving a Spectre. He might actually just go down to the Spike, like genuinely. Like in terms of the finances, it's not going to be that different no matter what he does, but that is a bleak reality. 12-2 down. You've just lost a round to Sheriffs and no shields. I think you can wrap this one up, put a bow on it. I don't believe in the 10-round comeback in the post. Nah.
I mean, you're looking at the guns between either side as well.
Look, it's the Logitech G power-up round. There you go.
The G power-up round.
Yeah, Logitech G power-up round. This is where you truly get some hope because, look, they've got a Judge, they've got a Guardian, and there's low shields. Look, Kellogg's just fighting mid again. Oh, look, the there you go. There's the Judge. That was, you know, he did a total of, sorry, well, 0 damage, 0. I couldn't tell that immediately. I definitely had to check.
You are such a wind-up.
Some would say cynical, but you know.
Sometimes a little bit more.
Yeah.
I mean, even coming into the round, Na'Vi are half treating it like a bonus. They know that going into the next where they really want that full buy online. They've got themselves 3 rifles, a couple of Spectres. But you spoke about Heretics, just completely in the dumpster after spending to keep themselves competitive in that second round, and now everything's kind of gone against them. Here comes this push in as well. Now to swarm down to at least separate the 2 teams temporarily. But Boo should be absolutely on toast, and he is. T-Net brings him down. Only 3 left standing here for the side of Heretics, or it's a 2-1 defeat. And their season continues looking bad.
They know at least where a couple of these players are. Mixwell trying to sell somewhat of a dream, but he goes down, left all onto Zeke, and it is an easy cleanup from Saigetsu. A 13-2 blitzing of the side of Team Heretics, and while it almost looking like a similar story to map number 1, the maps we expected Na'Vi to be good at, they were incredibly good at. And sure, maybe they've got a little bit of work to do on their Lotus, but hey, they've been testing things on that map over the last couple of weeks. Angel said it himself. If they're going to test things, they have to test it now. But on the maps where they are prepared, the maps where they're maybe running some slightly more normal comps, they are obliterating their opposition and now look to take their place rightfully right near the top of the board.
Again, I look back at that second map and really lean towards saying, you know, Lotus to me was agent mismatch. That's mainly what it came down to. They had that completely figured out coming into that third map and really showed them, look, what is the better team?
You know what, CNED on Jet, who knew that that would be good? Like, honestly, I came into today and I was going, I really want to see him play Phoenix. I said that to Zesht, I was a little bit disappointed. But yeah, ultimately, I think throughout this game, it was a domination on the maps we expected Na'Vi to be good at, and they are looking to complete their map pool throughout the rest of this season.
Well, as these Prime Gaming highlights play out here as well, any kind of closing thoughts on this? Because for Na'Vi, again, many came in saying, look, top 2 team here, everyone expects them to be doing well. Fnatic have kind of now put themselves on another tier ahead